Chapter 2417 Come to bite me. Don't be fooled by them, Ziyu hasn't lost her vitality and is still innocent. Yao Zhou suddenly whispered in Feng Zi's ear. When Feng Shi heard the words, a strange light flashed in his eyes suddenly, and he scanned Ziyu's body to confirm that Yao Zhou's words were correct. Ziyu was indeed still a virgin. But even so, he couldn't let it go, because at this moment, Ziyu kept clasping her 5 fingers on Yang Kai's palm, not separating for a long time. This is a great insult to any man, not to mention that he is the young master of the love sect. The young master of the sect, who is interested in love, is so close to the man next to him. This is no longer his personal problem, and it will be a great blow to the reputation of the sect if it is spread out. Boy, who are you? You dare to go against my Qing sect, aren't you afraid of death? Yao Zhou looked at Yang Kai coldly, with murderous intent in his heart. He knew that if today's matter is not handled well, not only will the sect if his reputation is damaged, it is very likely that there will be demons in Feng Zi's heart, and the best way to deal with it is to let Feng Shi kill Yang Kai. It's better to do it for Yu Zhu. A group of Emperor Senior Stage in Bingxin Valley also looked at Yang Kai curiously, and speaking of it, they also wanted to know who Yang Kai was. Such a man suddenly appeared in the valley, and he was so close to Ziyu. He was Ziyu's master, and Ruian, the acting owner of Bingxin Valley, was a little confused about the situation. She had never heard Ziyu talk about the man in front of her. I'm just here to take away junior sister Yu, why would you ask Qing sect to be your enemy? Senior, what you said is too arbitrary, right? You must speak with your conscience. Yang Kai snorted coldly, and continued, and this is Bingxin Valley, what does it have to do with you asking Qingzong? You can call me junior sister Yu. Feng Shi was furious. Yang Kai's eyes narrowed slightly, and he said coldly, why do I call it none of your business, why are you barking? Feng Shi burst into anger, glanced at Yao Zuodao, and said calmly, Master, I'm going to kill him. Since he was born, he has never suffered such a big grievance. The woman he likes took the initiative to hold this man's hand and tarnish his reputation. This man is still so arrogant, how can he vent his hatred if he is not killed? Yang Kai sneered. Want to kill me? There are many people who want to kill me, but they are all dead. The younger generation is rampant. Yao Zhou's complexion darkened, anger burst out in his eyes, and the aura of Emperor Senior Stage swept towards Yang Kai. A group of Emperor Senior realms in Bingxin Valley were also surprised. Yang Kai, a Daoyuan third layer realm, spoke so loudly in front of them, and they were also very shocked. The ignorant are meaningless. Yang Kai stood on the spot, snorted, seemed a little out of breath from Yao Zhou's aura, sniffed and said, I'm sorry, I'm young and ignorant, I'm not very good at talking. All the girls frowned when they heard this. I thought that Yang Kai also knew to be afraid, he was so arrogant before, and thought he was really proud, but he was suppressed by Yao Zhou's momentum, and immediately withered. Seeing this kid is not reliable enough to be entrusted to. If Yang Kai can really be tough to the end, maybe it will make people look at him with admiration, but he compromised so quickly, obviously he is also a bullying guy. There were a few slight sighs from the crowd, as if they were feeling sorry for Ziyu. After finding such a man, I don't know if Ziyu was trapped by love and didn't see his true face. Compared with Feng Shi, this person is a million miles away. Feng Shi is at least the young suzerain of Wenqing sect, and his status is not comparable to that of ordinary people. If Ziyu married, even if she could not improve her cultivation in the future, you will not suffer any hardships in your life, you can live in peace and stability, and you may not be happy in the future. But if he really follows someone like Yang Kai, the future will be very difficult. Yang Kai looked at Yao Zhou and Feng Shi faintly, smiled coldly, and continued, I'm not very pleasant to speak, if there was something offended just now, you fucking bite me. With a word, the audience was in an uproar. A group of Emperor Senior Stage and Bingxin Valley all stared at the beautiful eyes, and looked at Yang Kai absent-mindedly, with an expression of disbelief, as if they were questioning what they had just heard. As for Feng Shi and Yao Zhou, their faces darkened and their anger surged. Yao Zhou turned around, looked at Sun Yunshou, and said in a low voice, Elder, if Zaire kills him, do you have any opinions? He didn't ask in Ruian, the acting valley owner, but asked Sun Yunshou directly. He obviously knew that Ruian was weak, so it was useless to ask her at this time. And the reason why Feng Shi was allowed to take action was for his consideration. The appearance of Yang Kai and Ziyu had invisibly created a demon in Feng Zi's heart. Only by letting Feng Shi kill Yang Kai with his own hands, this demon it will be eliminated, and it will not affect his future practice. Wenqing Zong's Wenqing Supreme skill uses emotion to enter the Tao. When practicing, you need to give your true feelings, and you also need to make the object emotional. Listening to Yao Zhou's question, Sun Yunshou's pretty face darkened, and she snorted coldly, "This is my Bingxin Valley, and it is my business to kill or release. The deputy suzerain and the young suzerain don't need to intervene." Her cold words made Yang Kai extremely surprised. Because he guessed that Sun Yunshou should be a member of the Wenqing sect, and should be the backbone of the Wenqing sect who agreed to let Ziyu marry into the Wenqing sect. I won't refute it, but in fact Sun Yunshou didn't give Yao Zhou face at all. What's the situation? Although Sun Yunshou didn't give Yao Zhou face, she didn't have a good impression of Yang Kai. She felt that this series of troubles were caused by Yang Kai, and when she turned her head to look at him, she had a murderous look on her face. Just when she was about to say something, and Ruian suddenly said, "Young man, you just said that you were ordered to take Yuer away. Whose order did you follow?" She didn't have much meaning when she asked this question, but she knew Sun Yunshou's character, and knew that if she didn't interrupt, her second junior sister would definitely attack Yang Kai. With her Emperor Senior 2-layer cultivation base, if she really wants to kill, Yang Kai is absolutely powerless to resist. No matter whose order Yang Kai followed, or if he really fell in love with Ziyu and came to take her to elope, it was what Ruian wanted to see. Ziyu was her disciple, and he taught her how to cultivate by peeing. If she had no choice, how could she agree to this marriage and let Ziyu out secretly? It's a pity that good luck tricked people, and Ziyu was finally captured and returned. For Ruian, Yang Kai still respects him quite a bit. This woman is Ziyu's master and the acting valley master of Bingxin Valley, but she seems to have an extremely gentle and weak personality. In fact, such a person is not suitable to be in charge of a Zongmen. The real leader needs to be selfless, ruthless, and tough, and Ruian undoubtedly does not meet this requirement at all. This may be the biggest reason why Bingxingu was bullied by the Wenqing sect but unable to resist. Yang Kai clasped his fists together and said, "Senior Huiyan, this kid is following Senior Bingyan's order to bring junior sister Yu out of this place." What did you just say, boy? A group of Emperor Senior realms in Bingxin Valley were all excited, and they all cried out in surprise. A dozen pairs of beautiful eyes were all fixed on Yang Kai in an instant, trembling slightly, and that Sun Yunshou was even more delicate, and suddenly appeared in front of Yang Kai. He grabbed Yang Kai's shoulder with his hand, gritted his silver teeth and said tremblingly, "Boy, repeat what you just said." "You heard me." Yang Kai glanced at the position of his shoulder, and said coldly, seeing his expression and indifference, but there was no pain at all. Sun Yunshou looked angry, as if she was going to get angry, but she didn't know what she thought of, so she suppressed her anger abruptly, took a deep breath and let go of Yang Kai, and took the initiative to take a few steps back, with some expectation looking at Yang Kai nervously. The Emperor Senior realm of other Bingxin Valley is like this. Yang Kai looked around and said loudly, "I came here under the order of Senior Bingyan, and brought junior sister Yu away." "Master." And Ruian finally confirmed that she heard correctly. Yang Kai really said the word Bingyan just now. These two sacred words have been lingering in her heart for 3,000 years. These 3,000 years, all the time, she recalled the scene when her master taught her to practice. At that time, she was carefree, leaning on the big tree of the master, and only needed to practice with peace of mind. But time flies, things are different. Bingxin Valley is still the same Bingxin Valley, but she has never heard from her master. Not only did the outside world speculate that the master had fallen, but even many seniors and sisters in the sect silently accepted this fact. But at this moment, she heard the news of the master from Yang's mouth, and Ruian felt the blood in her chest tumbling, and asked in a shy voice, "Master, how is she now?" Pairs of beautiful eyes looked towards Yang Kai, full of anticipation, obviously wanting to know the answer. Yang Kai sneered and said, "Senior Bingyan knows that you are going to push the best disciples of the sect into the pit of fire, so you are in a bad mood." When the girls heard the words, all of them looked sad and guilt-ridden. They could no longer look at Yang Kai, and they all looked away. "Impossible, impossible!" Sun Yunshou suddenly yelled like crazy. Her eyes were all red, her beautiful eyes widened. She looked at Yang Kai as if she wanted to eat people, and approached him step by step, gritting her teeth said, "Master, if she is really still here, why didn't she come over to talk to us in person but sent a man like you to Bingxin Valley? Boy, how dare you lie, I really can't kill you as my palace." Second martial uncle, it's true, senior brother Yang was really sent by the Grand Master. Seeing her vicious look, Ziyu quickly dodged in front of Yang Kai. Seeing this scene, Feng Zai's heart was broken over there. To be continued. This text is provided by the Breaking Dawn update group at AC plus or minus a degree of diaresis T. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2418 I Fight With You. Chapter 2418 I Fight With You. Go away, it's none of your business here. Sun Yunsho waved her hand and swept Ziyu aside. Fortunately, although her mood fluctuated greatly, she knew how to make a move. This sweep did not hurt Ziyu. Mean. The next moment, Sun Yunsho came to Yang Kai again, reached out and grabbed Yang Kai's clothes, lifted him up without any effort, raised her head slightly, and said sharply, "How dare you use master to tease me, I will kill you now." She yelled fiercely, but there was no murderous intent in her eyes. On the contrary, she was not as aggressive as before, and she looked fierce and inward. Where is she going to kill Yang Kai? She clearly wants to force Yang Kai to tell the truth with her super cultivation. Yang Kai saw through her worrying about gains and losses at a glance, and did not resist at all, allowing her to lift himself, sneering, "Do it, why don't you do it?" Sun Yunsho gritted her silver teeth, but there was no sign of killing at all, she just stared at Yang Kai stubbornly. Yang Kai raised his hand, slapped her on the face, and shouted, "Big your dog eyes to see clearly, what is this thing?" Sun Yunsho didn't notice it for a while, but when she lost her mind, she was actually slapped firmly by Yang Kai, and she staggered back immediately. All the girls turned pale with fright, and all of them were sweating coldly. Among the many teachers and sisters, Sun Yunsho has the hottest and most ruthless temper, and her cultivation is at the second level of Emperor Venerable, so she is qualified for the position of the Great Elder of Bingxin Valley. She was slapped in front of so many people, and it was a man who slapped her. How did this end? Everyone seemed to have foreseen the tragic end of Yang Kai being dismembered by Sun Yunsho. And Ruian's expression changed even more, and he quickly thought about how to calm down second junior sister, so as to save Yang Kai's life. No matter why Yang Kai was so daring and dared to attack a second-layer Emperor Senior Realm, and Ruian couldn't let him be killed just because he came to bring Ziyu out of the sea of AA suffering. But to everyone's surprise, Sun Yunsho didn't lose her temper immediately after being beaten. Instead, she stretched out her hand to touch her cheek in astonishment, and then, something extra appeared on her hand. That is a token that many people find familiar, a token that has not been seen for 3,000 years. Patriarch Order. Sun Yunsho stared blankly at the token in her hand, at the big word cloud, tears blurred her eyes for a moment. What? And Ruian's face changed drastically, and he hurried over. Elder sister, Patriarch's token. This is Patriarch's token. Sun Yunsho was crying like rain, but a smile appeared on her face, holding the token in her hand and handing it to Ruian, shouting like offering a treasure. As for being slapped by Yang Kai, she seemed to have completely forgotten it in a blink of an eye. At this moment, she didn't have the majesty of a strong second-tier emperor, it was clearly a little girl's reaction when she saw something she had been looking forward to for a long time. Ruian's tender body trembled violently, took the token from Sun Yunsho's hand, felt the familiar breath and smell on it, and felt overwhelmed for a moment, her eyes turned red all of a sudden. The other emperors of Bingxin Valley also gathered around and looked at the token absently, each of them breathing rapidly, as if they had seen the most incredible thing. On the other side, when Yao Zhou heard the 3 words Patriarch Order, he immediately realized something was wrong. The reason why Wenqing sect was able to suppress Bingxin Valley was because the Patriarch of Bingxin Valley had been missing for 3,000 years. There should be some rumors everywhere, but in fact, Bingyan has been missing for 3,000 years. Many people felt that she had encountered some danger and had long since fallen. Bingxin Valley without Bingyan is like a tiger without teeth, Wen Qingzong can bully it at will. But now, suddenly there is a patriarchal order of Bingxin Valley. Does this mean that Bingyan has not fallen, but has been living in seclusion somewhere? If this is the case, then Bingxingu's strength is comparable to that of Wen Qingzong, and whether Fengxi and Ziyu's marriage can still be held as scheduled is open to question. After 2 days, the young sect master of Wenqing sect was overjoyed. The news had spread throughout the northern territory, and the invitations had been sent out. Many experts gathered in Binglan City, and they only waited for 2 days to enter Bingxin Valley to congratulate them. If it cannot be held on time, then ask this time. Qingzong was ashamed and thrown to Grandma's house. And the culprit of all this is undoubtedly this young man who appeared out of nowhere. If he hadn't taken out these patriarch orders, there wouldn't be so much trouble. After thinking up to this point, Yao Zhou couldn't care less about letting Feng Shi kill Yang Kai himself to get rid of any inner demons. The plan for now is naturally to kill Yang Kai as soon as possible, and then let Feng Shi and Ziyu kill the living tonight. When the rice is cooked, even if Bingyan really comes back, there is nothing he can do. Thinking of this, he yelled and said, "The boy is talking nonsense, and the token he picked up somewhere dares to pretend to be a patriarch's order. Don't you want it?" Being deceived by him, if the patriarch of the noble sect is really still in the world, he will definitely come here in person. How could he only send out a brat from the Dao origin realm? As soon as he said this, all the girls in Bingxin Valley calmed down. They were all overwhelmed by excitement when they saw the long-lost patriarch Ling just now, but now hearing what Yao Zhou said, there is some truth to it. If Bingyan is still alive, why not come here in person? Bingxin Valley was created by her, and 6 or 7 of the dozen or so Emperor Senior Realm here are her direct disciples. Why is it inconvenient for her to come here? As long as she shows up here in person, there is no need for any patriarchal order at all. But it happened that Yang Kai, a Dao origin realm, came here with the patriarch order, and kept saying that he was ordered by Bingyan to take Ziyu away. With a patriarch order, how can it be convincing? This token might have been picked up by Yang Kai from somewhere. And Ruiyan's face turned slightly pale, and he looked at Yang Kai and said, "Little brother, tell me the truth, who gave you this token, or where did you pick it up?" When she asked these questions, her expression was extremely uneasy, lest Yang Kai give an answer that she didn't want to hear. Although the master has not been heard from for 3,000 years, but there is no exact clue of his death. If this token was really picked up by Yang Kai, then the master must have fallen. This result was unacceptable to her. As the acting valley master, she has been in charge of Bingxin Valley for 3,000 years. Although she has not made much achievements, she has not made too many mistakes. The only mistake is that she cannot keep her disciples. One day, the master will come back. She expected to deliver the complete Bingxin Valley to the master at that time, not asking for praise, but just peace of mind, because she had done her best to keep the foundation created by the master. If she gets the news that her master has fallen from Yang Kai, she will definitely collapse. If you dare to tell a lie, I will definitely tell you not to survive, not to die. Sun Yunsho was not as good-tempered as in Ruiyan. She was aggressive as soon as she opened her mouth. Her beautiful eyes stared at Yang Kai, refusing to let go of the pain on his face. There was no change in expression. Yang Kai said with a cold face, "I said it was handed over to me by Senior Bingyun, do you believe me?" And Ruiyan relaxed all of a sudden, and nodded repeatedly, "I believe, I believe. I believe." Sun Yunsho also seemed to have lost all her strength, with a relieved expression on her face. Her expression of looking at Yang Kai was not as fierce as before, and everyone else's clothes were wet with sweat, as if they had just experienced some intense like the Great War. Although it is impossible to determine whether what Yang Kai said is true or false, at least everyone has a hope, a hope. You girls are simply too naive. This kid is clearly fooling you, wait for me to tell him the truth. Yao Zuoli shouted, and suddenly activated the power of Emperor Wei, and raised his hand to press Yang Kai down. Seeing his murderous posture, where is he trying to force Yang Kai to tell the truth, it is clear that he wants to hurt the killer. The old thing dares to bully the small with the big, bully the weak, shameless. Yang Kai's bones creaked, his eyes narrowed, and he let out a loud shout. While speaking, he wanted to break through the void to avoid this blow. However, the power of Emperor Wei, a powerhouse at the second level of Emperor Zun, was unexpectedly ferocious. The strong coercion directly blocked the space where he was, making him stiff, as if he was in a quagmire and whirlpool. No, I tried my best, but I barely moved a little distance, and there was no way to really avoid it. His eyelids shrank suddenly, and he felt the breath of death rushing towards him. But at this moment, the group of Emperor Senior Realm in Bingxin Valley were still in the ups and downs of their moods, and no one thought that a strong man like Yao Zhou would suddenly kill Yang Kai. When Ruiyan and Sun Yunsho realized that it was too late to rescue them, they could only watch that slap towards Yang Kai. Stop! Ruiyan yelled, and with a flick of his long sleeves, a secret treasure with a long white silk belt rolled towards Yao Zhou. You dare to hurt him, I want you to die without a place to bury you. Sun Yunsho was even more straightforward, raising the long sword in her hand, wrapping her body in the sword light, and slashed at Yao Zhou directly. In the next moment, the rest of the Emperor Prestige realm started together, using secret techniques and sacrificing secret treasures to fight Yao Zhou. In an instant, the scene was extremely chaotic, and the icy law and artistic conception pervaded, making the whole world seem to be frozen. Facing so many Emperor Senior realm interceptions, Yao Zuofei not only did not intend to stop, but his moves became more and more fierce, as if he wanted to take Yang Kai's life. Yang Kai could see clearly that these Emperor Senior realms in Ice Heart Valley couldn't save him at all. Before they could save him, Yao Zhou would hit him, and he would be seriously injured if he didn't die. At the critical moment of life and death, Yang Kai gritted his teeth, and a bead suddenly appeared in his hand, urging the source force to pour in, and in the blink of an eye, Yang Kai's strength was almost completely sucked by the bead. The bead was thrown at Yao Zhou viciously, and he shouted loudly, "I'll fight with you." The old man sees his tricks. "Your support is my greatest motivation." Mobile phone users, please go to read. Chapter 2418. Boy, are you blackmailing me? How dare you make a fool of yourself with such a small skill? Yao Zhou sneered, grabbed the bead in the palm of his hand, and squeezed it hard. His face was full of mockery. But the next moment, his face changed wildly, because an extremely terrifying force suddenly erupted from his palm, and the strength of this force made him lose his mind even at the second level of Emperor Senior. Diju Pill. Yao Zhou is more or less a person who has seen the world, and he immediately understood that the bead thrown by Yang Kai was not an ordinary bead at all, but a Diju Pill. The bone-piercing cold enveloped him all of a sudden. Yao Zhou shivered for no reason, his whole body was cold, his hands and feet were cold. Immediately afterwards, violent power fluctuated one after another, and a pretty phantom suddenly appeared in front of Yao Zhou. And at the moment when this phantom appeared, all the strong men in Bingxin Valley were dumbfounded. They looked at the phantom with their beautiful eyes, and their delicate bodies trembled violently. Master. Enruian lost the strength to strike. She just stared blankly at the figure and appearance that she had missed for 3,000 years. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't suppress her excitement. Sun Yunshou, Chong Sunying and the others all looked like this. Their aura of emperor status suddenly disintegrated, and they fell from midair one after another, staring at the phantom, and they were called masters one after another. Bingyan. Yao Zhou looked at the phantom with a pale face, as if seeing a ghost in daylight. He had also dealt with Bingyan before, so he could recognize it as a phantom of Bingyan at a glance, which meant that the Emperor Ju Pill was condensed by Bingyan. A low moan sounded suddenly. Although the sound was soft, it spread throughout the entire Bingxin Valley, shocking everyone. Ice Sydney Foil Sword. Accompanied by the sound of whispering, a long sword made of pure energy suddenly appeared in the phantom's hand. It was pure white and flawless. While the long sword trembled, it shrouded Yao Zhou's vitals, and the sword came out like a dragon. Yao Zhou was shocked, and when he let out a low growl, a long halberd appeared in his hand, and between opening and closing, he mobilized all his strength to defend with all his might. A series of jingling sounds came out. The impact of the Emperor's prestige filled the air, the Emperor's will splashed into the void, and the laws of heaven and earth shattered. In less than 10 breaths, Yao Zhou suddenly pulled back, gasping for breath, and Bing Yun's phantom also stood with his sword in his hand, turned his head as if spiritually, and looked at Enruian, Sun Yunshou and the others. It shattered and turned into bits of fluorescent light that disappeared without a trace. Yang Kai's eyes widened, with a shocked expression on his face. He had used Diju Pill once, but the last time he used the Diju Pill of Sui Yu Dadi was magnificent and filled with the power of the 4 seasons, allowing him to comprehend the way of heaven and martial arts under the power of time, thus breaking through the 3rd level of the source of Tao levels. And this time compared with the last time, it's nothing short of a big deal. Even though Bing Yun's sword is powerful, the sword's intent reaches the sky, and his supernatural powers are also very good, but no matter how he compares it, it can't compare with the Emperor Sui Yu Pill. And it only lasted 10 breaths before it disappeared. Could this be the difference between ordinary Emperor Senior Realm and Great Emperor? But when condensing the Emperor Ju Pill, both of them are at the 3rd level of Emperor Senior, so logically speaking, their powers should be about the same. Looking around, although Yao Zhou was in a mess, there was no sign of injury. What's going on? Just when Yang Kai was suspicious, Yao Zhou's face turned pale and he let out a muffled snort. Then, pear blossom-shaped ice flowers appeared all over his body. The blossoming pear blossoms were as white as snow, dotted around Yao Zhou's shoulders, waist, arms, and between his legs. It looked as if Yao Zhou had picked many pear blossoms and stuck them on his body, lifelike. When these pear blossoms appeared, Yao Zhou's whole body was like falling into a cellar of ice, his whole body trembled violently, his lips turned purple from the cold. Uncle! Feng Shi was shocked and shouted in a panic. Yao Zhou couldn't utter a word, his whole body was haunted by the icy law. After a long time, he suddenly let out a loud cry. Under the shock of Diwan, he shattered the frozen snow pear flowers covering his body, returned to normal. But his entire aura had already fallen to the bottom, and he looked extremely weak, with a spout of blood gushing out from his mouth. Obviously he had suffered a serious injury. Feng Shi hurried forward to help. Master and Ji, elder son, is this the way you treat guests in Bingxin Valley? Yao Zhou braced himself, gritted his teeth and asked Enruian and Sun Yunshou. Enruian frowned, and said coldly, if it's really a guest, I, Bingxingu, will not neglect you. The implication is that you Yao Zhou and Feng Shi are not the guests of Bingxin Valley. Yao Zhou was angry when he heard this, he almost vomited blood again, he gritted his teeth and said, 2 days later will be the big day for Zaire and Ziyu, a disciple of the noble sect, and you and I will get married. Master and Jiyu unexpectedly so unkind. Ziyu is my disciple, without my consent, she will not marry anyone. Enruian snorted coldly. Yao Zhou was stunned, he had never seen such a strong side of Enruian. In his impression, this woman was docile and even weak, but today she seemed to be a different person. Yao Zhou naturally knew why she had changed like this, obviously it was because of Bing Yun's news. He sneered in his heart, secretly not ashamed of this woman's tough attitude when she had a backer, and sneered, this matter is the matter of the eldest son of the noble sect. The matter that the old man personally agreed to, we have also widely reported to the major sects in the northern region. How can Master and Ji deny it with a single word? If it is spread, I am afraid that you will make all the powerful people laugh at you, Bingxingu, for turning back on what you said. Sun Yunshou took a step forward, and said coldly, I did agree before, but now I've repented. The marriage between Ziyu and the young sect master is over, and I will bear all the responsibilities. Yao Zhou was stunned, only felt his head buzzing, pointed at Sun Yunshou and trembled, and was speechless for a while, obviously outraged. He never expected that Sun Yunshou would regret it when she said it was such a big deal. Bingxingu cannot care about the loss of reputation, but Wenqingzong can't care about it. If they can't get married after 2 days, it will make the whole northern territory laugh. When Feng Shi heard the words, his expression became angry, and he shouted in a low voice, Elder son, you can't be so dishonest in your words, a man is so good at what you say, how can you be so dishonest? Sun Yunshou looked at him with a strange expression, and said calmly, how could you know that I am a man with your eyes, and I am a woman? Feng Shi was speechless for a moment. He was also out of breath just now, which caused him to speak indiscriminately. He knew something was wrong as soon as he uttered it, but he couldn't take it back, so he could only grit his teeth and say, okay, I know everyone's attitude at first. 2 days later, my father will come over in person. I hope that what you said will satisfy the old man, so I will leave. Saying that, he glanced at Yang Kai resentfully, and then helped Yao Zhou to go towards the layman. With things like this, he and Yao Zhou have no face to stay in Bingxin Valley as guests, so they can only leave here. When the girls of Bingxin Valley heard that the sect master Wenqing would come over in person in 2 days, their faces changed. Obviously they were extremely afraid of the sect master Wenqing. Yang Kai looked at Feng Shi and Yao Zhou with a cold face, with murderous thoughts in his heart. If he hadn't sacrificed the Emperor Ju pill given to him by Bing Yun at a critical moment just now, even if he didn't die today, he would have to peel off his skin. This was a waste of 1 Emperor Ju pill. How could he let these 2 people leave safely? Why do you have to pay a price? So before the 2 of them turned around, Yang Kai shouted, you want to leave now? You are too naive. When everyone heard this, their expressions changed. The girls of Ice Heart Valley didn't seem to realize Yang Kai's audacity until this moment. Today's incident has become like this, and it will end like this. How dare he challenge a Daoyuan 3rd level realm like this with an Emperor Senior 2 level realm? Could it be that he has more than 1 Emperor Ju pill in his hand, but even if there are other Ju pills, he can't sacrifice them in his current state? Yao Zhou and Feng Shi didn't know what Yang Kai was doing. They all stopped when they heard the words. Feng Zai's eyes shot fire, as if he wanted to rip Yang Kai off. Yao Zhou even snorted coldly, saying, today is considered to be my failure. What are you going to do, boy? Yang Kai smiled coldly and said, the deputy suzerain is so aggressive because he wants to eat people. Just now the deputy suzerain shamelessly bullied the weak and shot at this young master, but this young man was scared to death. Until now, the soul has not returned to its place, and I don't know where it is wandering in the future. I am afraid that the 3 souls and 7 souls will not be fully filled, and this young master's bright future will be ruined. The deputy suzerain has caused such an indelible trauma to this young master, so you have nothing to say. Wow! All the girls of Ice Heart Valley fainted together, looking at Yang Kai with strange expressions. What was frightened to death? What soul has not yet been returned? What indelible trauma? This is obviously nonsense. Yao Zhou shot at Yang Kai before. Yang Kai did not confront him head-on at all, but sacrificed an emperor. Zhu Dan resolved the crisis, so how could he encounter any trauma? The boy opened his eyes and said nonsense, but he didn't even know how to blush. The girls have gained some knowledge, secretly thinking that a person can be so thick-skinned. Feng Shi said angrily. I see that you are clearly well, how can there be any trauma? Yang Kai snorted coldly. Young sect master, please don't open your eyes and talk nonsense. This young master is dizzy and crumbling, can't you see it, or is it that young sect master's eyes are growing up? You, Feng Shi had never seen such a shameless person, and for a while, he didn't know how to refute forcefully. All the girls in Bingxin Valley also blushed, secretly feeling that Yang Kai's words were so rude, it was simply insulting to gentlemen. Yao Zhou thought about it for a while, and then he woke up like a dream. Boy, do you want to blackmail me? Yang Kai Dao, what is the deputy suzerain doing with such a nasty words? Killing people to pay for their lives, debts and money are justified. You have hurt the foundation of this young master, and let this young master's martial arts path end here. This young master is not as knowledgeable as you. Take some as fair to say that things come out to make up for 1 or 2, right? Isn't this just blackmailing me? Yao Zhou was furious. Yang Kai frowned, touched his chin and pondered for a moment, then sighed. Well, I'm just blackmailing you, what about the deputy suzerain? Come and bite me. Ch 8,296,929 Dian Hanji Pruvi data. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2420 Only one thing. Chapter 2420 As long as one thing. Boy, you are really looking for death. Yao Zhou was so angry that his chest was full of blood. He was indeed seriously injured, but he was a 2nd-level emperor, and Yang Kai, a 3rd-level Dao source, actually blackmailed him so blatantly, how can he bear it? Feeling furious, I can't wait to step forward and slap Yang Kai now. He doesn't believe that Yang Kai still has an Emperor Ju pill. The Emperor Ju pill is too rare, and it's good for ordinary people to take out one, how can there be a second one? You dare to threaten this young master, believe it or not, I will let you all die here. Yang Kai looked ruthless. It's up to you, Yao Zhou sneered, with a look of sarcasm and mockery. Yang Kai turned his head to look at Sun Yunshou, stretched out his hand and said, give me back the token. Sun Yunshou didn't know what he was going to do, but this token was indeed brought by Yang Kai, and Yang Kai had sacrificed Frozen Cloud's Emperor Ju pill before, so it could be seen that Yang Kai had a deep relationship with his master, so Sun Yunshou had nothing to do with it. Hesitating, he quickly held the Patriarch token in both hands and returned it to Yang Kai. Yang Kai raised the token high, looked around, and shouted loudly, Bingxin Valley's ancestral rules, seeing the Patriarch's order is like seeing the Patriarch himself. In Ruyan, Sun Yunshou and the others were all taken aback when they heard the words, but soon they realized that there was indeed such a rule in Guzhong, so they quickly knelt down on the ground and said in unison, the disciple has seen the ancestor. Yang Kai looked at Yao Zhou and Feng Shi coldly, and yelled, this young master, in the name of Senior Bing Yun, ordered you to kill these 2 people. Yao Zhou and Feng Zai's complexion changed drastically, they turned pale with horror, they all retreated a few steps back, extremely vigilant. A mere Yang Kai is indeed not in their eyes, but the Emperor Senior realm in Bingxin Valley is different. There are more than a dozen people in the Emperor Senior realm here, and there are 2 2nd-level Emperor Senior realm. Yao Zhou is seriously injured now. Under the circumstances, it is impossible to be their opponents. Once these women obey the order, then next year's today will really be their own death day. The girls of Bingxin Valley also had dull expressions when they heard the words, but soon, Sun Yunshou flew out and rushed directly behind Yao Zhou and Feng Shi, blocking their way. Seeing this, the other women felt that this was a little inappropriate, but they still dispersed one after another, surrounded the 2 of Wenqingzong, and each sacrificed their secret treasures, as if they were ready to strike at any time. Yao Zhou's face turned pale all of a sudden, Feng Shi was trembling all over, swallowing nervously. As the young sect master of Wenqing sect, he has been pampered since he was a child. When he encountered such a thing, at the critical moment of life and death, he knew what fear is. Yang Kai laughed strangely at the side, constantly tossing the patriarch token, with an expression of success. This young master. And Ruian looked at Yang Kai and said softly, do you really want to kill him? In her heart, she didn't want to kill Yao Zhou and Feng Shi here. After all, the status of these two people was very different. If they really died at the hands of Bing Xinggu, Wen Qingzong would definitely not let it go. When the two sects start fighting, the entire northern region will be devastated. Even if the master returns, the entire sect will suffer heavy casualties. As the acting valley master, it is impossible for her not to consider these things, lest Yang Kai really order herself and others to kill people to show off that momentary aura. If this is the case, she would rather disobey the patriarch's order than do it. I believe that even if the master knows, he will not blame himself. Yang Kai chuckled lowly and said, then it depends on whether these two know each other. Hearing this, Ruian felt relieved, thinking that this young man is not a one-headed guy. He ordered himself to wait for others, no doubt he wanted to get some benefits from Yao Zhou. Otherwise, I would have urged myself to wait for someone to do it. How could I say such a thing? As long as no one dies, everything is fine. As soon as Ruian thought to this point, he didn't ask any more questions, but instead wondered how far Yang Kai could go. Master and Ji, elder son, as a strong emperor, are you willing to be driven around by a brat of unknown origin like this? You are a person with status, so you are not afraid of others' jokes if you don't spread the word. Yao Zhou, it doesn't make sense to Yang Kai, so I can only focus on Ruian and Sun Yunshou, hoping that the two can cherish their identities and stop acting like this. Sun Yunshou said indifferently, the patriarch's order is here, and we can't help it. If the deputy suzerain has any opinions, you can discuss it with my master. Yao Zhou was suddenly dumbfounded. Bing Yun's Emperor Zhu Pil almost killed him. If he really saw him, how would he dare to argue with him? Grinding his teeth, Yao Zhou's mood was extremely complicated. He had never suffered such a shame and humiliation since he practiced, and was threatened by a young man whose cultivation level was far inferior to his own. But now that people are under the eaves, they really have to bow their heads. After being silent for a while, he could only swallow his breath, and said in a deep voice, what exactly do you want? Yang Kai grinned and said, don't be so nervous, Vice Sect Master, everything in this world is negotiable, just make up for it. I can pretend that what happened just now didn't happen. What do you want? Yao Zhou asked. Yang Kai raised a finger and said lightly, this young master only needs one thing. Let's listen. Yao Zhou couldn't help but feel relieved when he heard that he only wanted one thing. Hand over your space ring, and get out. Yang Kai squinted at the ring in his hand. What? Yao Zhou's eyes burst into flames, and he said decisively, impossible. Before Yang Kai said that he only wanted one thing, he thought that Yang Kai just wanted to save face, he just asked for something, but now he heard that Yang Kai wanted to get back face. This is clearly taking advantage of the fire. He is a space ring of the second level of Emperor Senior, and there are a lot of good things. This time, he is planning to marry Feng Shi and Ziyu 2 days later, and the betrothal gifts are all in the space ring. If the Wenqing sect is a higher sect, the young sect master will naturally not be too stingy when they get married. The dowry gift is enough to equal 10 years' income of a middle sect, not to mention there are countless geniuses and land treasures. Yang Kai's complexion sank, and he said coldly, kill the young one first, don't kill him with a sword, slowly cut off his limbs and abolish his dantian. I want him to taste it all before he dies. Human torture. After his words fell, Sun Yunshou flicked her long sword and slashed towards Feng Shi. Feng Shi was so frightened that his face turned pale, he swayed all over, and shouted, no. Sun Yunshou was unmoved at all. This woman was extremely hot-tempered, and she was honest with Yang Kai before, and it is the same now. As soon as she heard Yang Kai's order, she really started to fight. Slow. Yang Kai raised his hand again. Sun Yunshou's long sword stopped immediately, and it happened to rest on Feng Zai's arm. A feeling of icy cold came. Feng Zai's whole body seemed to collapse, and he collapsed to the ground. When he turned his head, he saw a streak of blood appearing on his arm. If Yang Kai shouted a little slower just now, his arm would have been cut off. Yang Kai looked at Feng Shi with a smile on his face. His face was harmless to humans and animals, and said, young sect master seems to have something to say. Yes, Yes, yes. Feng Shi nodded after hearing this. Let's just say, no one is blocking your mouth. Feng Shi opened his mouth and didn't know what to say. After thinking for a while, he turned his head to look at Yao Zhou and said, Uncle, give him the ring. Why should you be as knowledgeable as him? Fart, Yao Zhou said angrily. I asked the people of the love sect, they would rather live standing than kneeling to die. If you want my ring, what is the difference between this and slapping my face? Xie, you don't be afraid, this kid is just trying to scare you, he doesn't dare to take your life, if he really dares to do this, when the suzerain comes 2 days later, Bingxin Valley will be flattened. Take my life, Feng Shi murmured, his face turned extremely pale, and a strong fear welled up in his heart. It was always his job to kill others, when was he going to be killed by others? For a moment, he didn't care about his image anymore, and shouted, No, I don't want to die. If I die, what's the point of my father leveling the Bingxin Valley? If I die, the 60s in the sect will. What about the 9 wives? Uncle, give him the ring quickly. I am the young master of Wenqing sect. In the future, I will be in charge of Wenqing sect and become the overlord of the Northern Territory. How can I die in such a place? Yao Zhou never thought that Feng Shi would be so spineless, he would be scared out of his wits whenever he was frightened by others. He didn't know that he was such a timid person before, he was already traumatized. At this moment, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Obviously he hated iron but not steel. The girls of Bingxin Valley seemed to be getting to know Feng Shi for the first time, and all of them showed disdain. Although it was at the critical moment of life and death, Feng Zai's performance like this was really disgusting. Which martial artist's way of cultivation is not to put his head on his trouser belt, and he has already seen through life and death, but Feng Shi is undoubtedly protected too much, so he loses his position when he encounters danger. As the young master of Wenqing sect, he loses everything. Ask about Qingzong's face. Those contemptuous gazes made Feng Shi even more ashamed, but compared with his own life, what is face? He kept begging for Yao Zhou to take down the space ring. 69 ladies, the young sect master is really a blessing, making people envious and envious. Yang Kai said coldly, but there was no envy in his eyes, and some were just mocking. Don't worry, the young sect master. Well, if you die here, I will take good care of your 69 wives for you. I have good physical strength, and I will definitely not let them guard the empty boudoir. En Ruiyan's face turned red, and he spat. This young master speaks without restraint. Ziyu also stared at Yang Kai with a strange expression, the whites of her eyes turned out. Hearing that Yang Kai had actually targeted his 69 wives, Feng Zai's eyes turned red, he stretched out his hand to Yao Zhou regardless, and tore off his interspatial ring. Yao Zhou didn't know if he was disheartened because of Feng Zai's performance, so he didn't resist at all, and Feng Shi easily took off the ring. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile phone users, please go to read. Chapter 2421 Give up on marriage. Feng Shi threw the ring to Yang Kai, looked at him eagerly, and said anxiously, Give you the ring, now you can let us go, right? Yang Kai stretched out his hand to take it, he sneered and looked at Feng Shi with a playful look. Feng Zai's heart skipped a beat, thinking that this person wouldn't count what he said, right? Following his gaze, Feng Shi looked at the ring on his hand again, gritted his teeth and took off his interspatial ring, then threw it to Yang Kai and said, This is for you too, bypass me. Young sect master is so kind, how can this be embarrassing? Yang Kai quickly took over his space ring, put it in his pocket without even looking at it, changed the subject, and snorted coldly. This young master said earlier, as long as the space ring of the deputy suzerain of the noble sect is let go, but now the young suzerain forced a second ring for me for no reason. Isn't this trying to frame Ben Xiaoyu's injustice? Ah! Feng Shi opened his mouth wide, never expecting Yang Kai to say such shameless words. All the girls in Ice Heart Valley also had extremely weird expressions, and one of them looked at Yang Kai with extremely complicated eyes. Today, the performance of this young man has really refreshed their understanding of the bottom line of morality. Before meeting Yang Kai, I never thought that someone in this world could be so shameless. I don't know if Feng Zai's head suddenly opened up. Seeing Yang Kai's unkind expression, he quickly continued, Brother, I misunderstood, my space ring was just given to you by Feng, and it is not in the previous conditions. In the meantime, your brother is magnificent, he acts extraordinary, and will become a great weapon in the future, but Feng just wants to make friends with you. Yang Kai laughed and said, young sect master is so generous, this friend can make friends. The corners of Feng Zai's mouth twitched, and he said with a sneer, then, can we go? Yang Kai narrowed his eyes and said, young sect master still wants to stay for breakfast. No, no, no. Hearing the words, Feng Shi stood up as if he had received an amnesty, dragged Yao Zhou up, and stumbled towards the outside of Bingxin Valley. And ever since Feng Shi forcibly took away his space ring, Yao Zhou seemed to have lost his soul, his eyes were lifeless, and he seemed to be in despair for Feng Zai's performance. At this moment, being dragged away was just the slightest bit of resistance. No. After a while, Yao Zhou and Feng Shi disappeared. Until this moment, the girls of Bingxin Valley couldn't help exhaling. Before Yang Kai held the patriarch order and ordered them to kill the two people from the Wenqing sect, they were really sweating secretly, lest they really make things stiff. Fortunately, although Yang Kai robbed 2 space rings in the end, the matter is not unresolved, at least Feng Shi and Yao Zhou are not in danger of their lives. Young master, where is my master now? And Ruian didn't have the time to ask what he cared about until now. Yang Kai turned his head and glanced at her, said, Senior N, don't worry, Senior Bing Yun is safe now, but it's not convenient to see you these few days. Inconvenient? Sun Yunshou frowned when she heard the words, and hurriedly said, why is it inconvenient? Yang Kai glanced at her coldly and said, it's just inconvenient, there's no reason. Sun Yunshou was choked by him, if her temper would have exploded long ago, but Yang Kai was sent by her master, and she was holding the patriarch order, so she could only swallow her anger. Chang Sunying said, then when can we see master? Yang Kai thought for a while, and said, 2 or 3 days of work, you just wait. After a pause, he turned his head to look at Sun Yunshou, sneered and said, I hope that after seeing Senior Bingyan, the great elder Can Ziyu's marriage is explained clearly. Sun Yunshou's expression darkened, but she still said in a deep voice, Master will be beaten and punished, and I will bear it all. It has nothing to do with other sisters. Yang Kai sneered, although Sun Yunshou's performance just now was not bad, even if she was slapped by herself, she didn't mean to hold grudges, but just because she made the decision and agreed to Ziyu's marriage to Fengxi, she would not miss a meal punish. Pushing the best disciple of her sect into the big fire pit of Wenqing sect, she, the great elder, has also done it. It's just that this is someone else's business after all, even if Yang Kai is indignant, he can't say much. And Ruian didn't know what to think of, she looked at Yang Kai worriedly and asked, little young master has been saying that master is inconvenient, and he said that it took 2 or 3 days, is it possible? Master is injured, is healing now, quote. Hearing what she said, all the girls changed their expressions. When Bingyan left Bingxin Valley, he was already at the 3rd level of Emperor Senior Realm. After 3,000 years, Bingyan's strength must have become stronger and stronger. Even if he looked at the entire star realm, he was definitely a top existence, but such a strong person, how could it be hurt? How many people in the world can hurt her? Yang Kai glanced at Ruian in amazement, a little surprised at her quality and orchid heart, but he didn't say anything, and Ruian was able to guess this, obviously thinking exquisitely. Here are all the high-level people in Bingxin Valley, and many of them are Bingyan's direct disciples, so Yang Kai didn't hide it anymore, but nodded seriously, Senior N is right, Senior Bingyan was indeed injured. With a swipe, the faces of all the girls in Bingxin Valley turned pale. Yang Kai hurriedly said, but everyone, don't worry, Senior Bingyan's injury is not serious, and he will be healed in Binglan City at this moment, and he will be back to normal in 2 or 3 days. Master is in Binglan City. And Ruian exclaimed. Chang Sunying also said excitedly, can you take us to meet the master? Yang Kai frowned and said, Senior Bingyan is healing, it's not good for you to bother me now. And Ruian said, we won't disturb the master, we just want to be closer to the master, young master, please. She is a 2nd level Emperor Senior, and at this moment, she is acting like a child who has been guarding the family for countless years when she hears the news of her parents' return, excited and looking forward to it. Everyone else was also looking at Yang Kai eagerly, with pleading expressions on their faces. Yang Kai couldn't stand being stared at by this pair of beautiful eyes, he could only say, okay, I will take you to see Senior Bingyan. Thank you. All the girls looked relieved, ecstatic. At that moment, Ruian ordered the disciples in the valley to open all the prohibition formations in Bingxin Valley, and let the disciples guard the sect, and then flew towards Binglan City together with Yang Kai. More than a dozen people, only Yang Kai is a man, the scene is mighty, and except for Yang Kai and Ziyu, the others are all in the Emperor Senior realm. When such a force walks, it is naturally unavoidable to attract people's attention. When they came to the gate of Binglan City, the warrior guarding the city was about to interrogate him, but when he saw the Emperor's senior stage people behind Yongkai, he stepped back in shock, not even daring to take a breath. Binglan City is the foundation of Bingxin Valley, and many shops in this city are managed by Bingxin Valley disciples, so when Enruian and others entered the city, Bingxin Valley disciples kept rushing out from the shops on both sides, respectfully saluting. After this tossing, within a short time, everyone in the entire Bingxin Valley knew that the high-level officials of Bingxin Valley were dispatched, and they didn't know what to do in the city. The puppet city lord who was supported by Bingxin Valley even came to say hello, sweating profusely, trembling, thinking that he had done something wrong, which led to the high-level officials of Bingxin Valley coming to punish him. But Enruian and the others just greeted him and ignored him, which made the puppet city lord both sad and happy. Who has met Master and Gu? Elder son and all the elders, congratulate Bingxingyu on his marriage with Wenqingzong. It's really gratifying and congratulations. A person suddenly flew from the side and landed in front of everyone in Bingxingyu. He clasped his fists with a smile. This man is dressed as a middle-aged man, with the cultivation base of the first level of emperor, and he seems to be a powerful figure from some sect in the northern region. Looking at him like this, he is obviously here to wait for the big day to go to Bingxin Valley to congratulate him at this time. I should have heard that Enruian and others came to Binglan City, so I took the initiative to say hello. Enruian paused, and before he could answer, one emperor after another suddenly appeared from all directions, just like this man surnamed Hu, congratulating him constantly. Enruian undoubtedly recognized these people, and exchanged a few simple words. The first man surnamed Hu who showed up waited for her to exchange greetings, and then he asked suspiciously, why is Master Ngu so leisurely and elegant that he came to Binglan City? Although Ice Wheel City is the industry of Ice Heart Valley, it is also a transit point for Ice Heart Valley to communicate with the outside world, but under normal circumstances, the top management of Ice Heart Valley will not show up here, let alone a dozen or so. Everyone faintly felt that something was not quite right, and for no reason there was an illusion that something was going to happen, as if something big was about to happen. We have something to do, you can take care of yourself. Sun Yunsho replied with a cold face and no emotion. In addition, the marriage between my Bingxin Valley disciple Ziyu and the young master Feng Shi of Wenqing sect will be cancelled from today. Everyone, you don't have to stay here anymore, just go back where you came from. Junior sister Sun's words are a bit straightforward. Everyone forgive me, please come all the way here, it's because Bingxin Valley's hospitality is not good enough. Enruian smiled gently, and then led everyone towards the city. A group of Emperor seniors were left stunned. After a while, after Enruian and the others disappeared, someone wiped the sweat from his forehead, swallowed his saliva and said, Brother Yuewen, did I hear correctly just now? Did Elder Sun say, the marriage is over? I heard that too. It's broken now. What the hell are these women in Bingxin Valley doing? The man named Yuewen also had cold sweat on his face, nervous. One person said, I don't know if it is Bingxinggu's unilateral intention to let go of this marriage, or a consensus has been reached with Wenqingzong. If it is a unilateral intention, everyone's expression sank, and they suddenly realized that something was wrong. If it was Bingxinggu's unilateral intention, Wenqingzong would definitely not let it go. The disciples of the Wenqing sect practice the supreme skill of Wenqing, and enter the Tao with love. The woman they are attracted to will never give up easily, not to mention that this time it is related to Feng Shi, the young master of the Wenqing sect. My humble opinion, asking the Qingzong side should not give up on this marriage. To be continued. This text is provided by the Dawn Update Group at 87,453,198. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to a unknown currency first a cent to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile phone users, please go to read. Chapter 2422 A Spectacle. Phone reading. Since Wenqingzong won't give up easily, in other words, isn't Bingxinggu dishonest? I heard that both the deputy sect master and the young sect master of Wenqing sect are in Bingxin Valley. Why is there no one at this moment? The mountains and rain are about to come and the wind is all over the building. This northern region, I am afraid that the sky will change. A cubed. Brother Joe, is this a joke? Although Bingxin Valley is strong, how can it compete with Wenqing sect? The entire Northern Territory knows that the name of Bingxinghu, the top sect, is no longer worthy of its name. Wenqing sect really wants to be held accountable. Bingxin Valley will definitely not be able to resist. I heard that on the day of the great celebration, Master Fengshuan of Wenqing sect will come to Bingxin Valley in person, and it will be tomorrow if he calculates the time. If he knows that Bingxin Valley has rejected the marriage. The 7 or 8 Emperor Senior Realm chattered a lot, and some of them couldn't understand the situation, and everyone only knew that Bingxin Valley was in big trouble this time. I don't know where these women have the guts to regret their marriage at this juncture. Isn't this the face of asking Qingzong in front of the whole Northern Territory? How could Feng Zan let it go? Brother Hu Yuan, should we go and persuade Master and Ji Yu and the others? I remember that your wife is from Bingxin Valley. Something is really going to happen in Bingxin Valley, and Yu Huazong can't stay out of it. Hu Yuan's complexion changed slightly when he heard the words. He pondered for a while, and hurried towards the direction where Ruian and the others left, looking like he wanted to persuade him. The other emperors looked at each other in blank dismay, and hurriedly followed. Although they were only here to congratulate, but when things developed to this point, they also really wanted to know what happened to Bingxin Valley, so they had the guts to regret their marriage with Wen Qingzong. After a while, a group of people came to the front of an inn in Binglan City, and saw Ruian and others standing there quietly in front of the inn, with a dozen or so emperors looking solemn. He didn't say a word, just looked in a certain direction, with a pious and excited expression. Within a radius of 100 feet, there was no one inhabited, and all irrelevant people retreated far away, watching this side. Hu Yuan flew over, hastily stepped forward, and was about to speak, but saw Ruian's body short, and suddenly knelt down. Immediately following her movements, many Bingxin Valley emperors fell to their knees. Hu Yuan's eyeballs were almost protruding, and he froze in place for a while, staring stupidly, not knowing what Ruian and the others were up to. The other strong men who rushed here one after another were also dumbfounded, and the shock in their hearts could not be added. Brother Hu, what is this going on? Someone approached Hu Yuan and asked in a low voice. Hu Yuan was also in a daze, and shook his head constantly when he heard the words, I don't know, when I came here, they were like this. Then why is it so sacred to live in the inn, to allow Master and Ji Yu and elder son to perform such a grand ceremony? Among the group of people in Bingxin Valley, Ruian and Sun Yunsho are both at the 2nd level of Emperor Senior, except for a disciple at the 3rd level of Daoyuan. The others are also at the 1st level of Emperor Senior, such a force. It's scary. But they just knelt on this street, in front of the inn, in broad daylight, under the watchful eyes of the public, without the slightest burden in their hearts. Instead they acted as if it was a matter of course. Ruian is the acting owner of Bingxin Valley, and Sun Yunsho is the great elder of Bingxin Valley. The words and deeds of the two of them represent the face of Bingxinggu, but at this moment they are kneeling here regardless, without saying a word, which shows that there is someone in this inn who can make them surrender so much. Hu Yuan's expression changed, as if he had thought of something. He whispered, could it be that? He didn't finish his sentence, but his expression was extremely excited. Brother Hu, what do you mean? Someone asked hurriedly, not knowing why. One of them said thoughtfully, in the whole world, even if the top 10 emperors come here in person, it's not enough for Lord and Ji Yu to perform such a great gift. There is only one person who can make them willingly do such a thing. Father of Bingxin Valley, Senior Bingyan. A cry of surprise came. Could it be said that Senior Bingyan lives in this inn? Didn't it mean that Senior Bingyan has long since fallen? There has been no news of her for 3,000 years. If there is no news, it doesn't mean that he has fallen. Maybe Senior Bingyan has been living in seclusion, or maybe he has been trapped somewhere. When Senior Bingyan disappeared, he was at the 3rd level of Emperor Senior. A person with her cultivation level, how could he die so easily? As the founder of the Bingxin Valley, Bingyan, even though he has been missing for 3,000 years, still has such a great reputation. After suddenly guessing that Bingyan lives in that inn, everyone can't help but have different expressions. Among this group of people, some are close to Bingxin Valley, and some are close to Wen Qingzong, so naturally they are in different moods at the moment. At this juncture, Senior Bingyan suddenly appeared, and Sect Master Fengshuan will also come here tomorrow. If these two powerful men meet, someone shuddered while talking, feeling a little uncomfortable. Dare to go on. Under normal circumstances, it would be nothing if Bing Yun and Feng Zan met. Both of them are at the helm of the top sects in the Northern Territory, and they have dealt with each other for a long time, but Ruian just said that the two sects are settled, the marriage is over. Once Feng Zan came over, he would definitely seek justice for his son. No wonder Ruian and others dared to regret their marriage at this time. It turned out that Bingyan had already returned. But for some unknown reason, Ruian and the others knelt in front of the inn, but there was no sign of Bingyan. Everyone didn't dare to release their spiritual thoughts to investigate at will, and they all stood there waiting anxiously. For a time, nearly 20 Emperor Senior Realm powerhouses gathered in front of this small inn, which was a spectacle. Yang Kai stood in front of the inn with a helpless look on his face. He didn't expect that the group of emperors in Bingxin Valley would come here suddenly, and they would be surrounded by countless people like monkeys. Fangxin and the others came out of the inn upon hearing the news, glanced at Ruian and the others, then approached Yang Kai, suspiciously said, "Senior brother Yang, who are they? Why are they all kneeling here?" The corner of Yang Kai's mouth twitched, and said, "These are all your senior sisters." Senior sister? Fan Xin was stunned for a moment, then covered her red lips with her little hand, and said coquettishly, "They are from Bingxin Valley." Yang Kai nodded. Only then did Fan Xin hurried forward with a few senior sisters, bowed her knees and said, "Fan Xin has met all senior sisters." "You are?" Ruian looked at her in surprise. Junior sister Fangxin is the disciple accepted by Master in the secret realm of Jixu, and they are all the same. Fangxin pointed to the women behind her as she spoke. Those women's cultivation bases are worse than hers. Seeing so many emperors kneeling in front of him, they were all too embarrassed to speak. After all, for them, Emperor Senior Realm is equivalent to a legend, but now, they are going to be called sisters with these Emperor Senior Realm, and they are dizzy from the huge surprise. My head was at a loss, I didn't know what to do. "Are you disciples accepted by Master?" Ruian's eyes lit up. Fangxin smiled slightly, and activated her own profound arts, and her temperament suddenly became extremely cold. Sun Yunshou nodded and said, "It is indeed the orthodox exercise of Bingxin Valley." Hearing what she said, the eyes of all the girls looking at Fangxin and the others softened. Okay. Ruian smiled gently, "Master has finally accepted another disciple. It is thanks to you for taking care of Master these years." "We, senior sisters, thank you." Fangxin shook her head and said, "Master took us in, we couldn't help Master." "But senior sisters, why are you kneeling here? Hurry up." Chang Sunying smiled slightly and said, "We did something wrong, this is the punishment we deserve, so don't worry about it, junior sister." Ruian said, "Junior sister, you just mentioned the secret realm of Jixu. Could it be that Master has been staying in the secret realm of Jixu all these years?" Judging from her tone, she probably didn't know the existence of the Lonely Void secret realm. No wonder, anyone trapped inside. No one has ever escaped. For the entire star world, the secret realm of Solitary Void is too strange. Yes, we were all trapped in the secret realm of solitude, and we managed to get out of it a few days ago. Fan Xin nodded. Master's injury is also related to the secret realm of solitude. Ruian asked nervously. Fangxin said, "There is a guy named Chiri in the secret realm of Jixu. His cultivation level is comparable to that of the Master. The Master wanted to leave at that time, but Chiri didn't allow it, so the two fought." A group of Emperor Senior Realm of Bingxin Valley knelt in front of the inn and listened to Fangxin's narration. Hearing the danger is even more like being there, and his expression is tense. Yang Kai knows that they must have endless things to say, and Ruian and others must want to know how Bingyun has been these years, and how his body is now. So he went straight back to his room, and began to count the rings of Fengxi and Yao Zhou. This time he had no choice but to use an Emperor Ju pill, but he got 2 space rings, which is not a disadvantage, and there are countless good things in the rings of these two people. After some calculations, Yang Kai found that not only did he not suffer, on the contrary, he made a lot of money. The only thing that made him feel regretful was that without that Emperor Ju pill, he would lose a trump card in the future. Yao Zhou and Fengxi had too many things in their space. Yang Kai had to count for a full day before finishing counting. The source crystals alone had as much as 100 million, and there were many middle-grade and high-grade source crystals among them. If it is converted into low-grade source crystals, there are at least 3 to 4 billion, and this is not counting the value of those geniuses and treasures. When Qingzong's wealth opened his eyes. Yang Kai was supposed to be rich, but now that he has obtained such a large amount of wealth, his personal financial resources can be called terrifying. Recalling that when he first came to Star Realm, he and Lu Qianyan were worried about running around for the source crystal. Those days seemed like a lifetime away. In a good mood, Yang Kai threw some rare minerals into the mysterious small world, letting the Dharma body devour and refine them. Since the last time the Dharma body used the heaven-devouring warfare to refine an emperor prestige realm, its aura has faintly reached a peak level, and it seems that it is only a short step away from breaking through to the emperor prestige realm. Not only Dharma body is now, but also watching Si, even Lu Yan, who is practicing in mysterious Shaoji, is making rapid progress in cultivation and progressing rapidly. Zhang Ruoxi, the only one who lacked a little bit of cultivation base, is now at the first level of Daoyuan. With her special physique, as long as she has enough heaven and earth spiritual energy, her cultivation base will catch up sooner or later. To be continued. Chapter 2423. The matter is serious. Yang Kai has always been concerned about Zhang Ruoxi's bloodline. He has a piece of ethereal jade in his hand, which only resonates with Zhang Ruoxi. When it resonates, some strange and beautiful scenes flashed on the ethereal jade. Yang Kai has never known this. What is the purpose of the ethereal jade by? And back then in the land of 4 seasons, Zhang Ruoxi also said that she encountered the ancient holy spirit Changqi. Not only did the Changqi beast not hurt her, but even gave her a Fengkexia garment, which was an imperial treasure, and it is an extremely high-level defensive emperor treasure. Yang Kai was particularly concerned about this matter, and vaguely guessed that it was related to Zhang Ruoxi's blood, but he still couldn't find the answer. Maybe after Zhang Ruoxi becomes stronger, she can figure out what is going on with her blood. Time flies. Yang Kai counted the 2 space rings, went to mysterious small world again, distributed some cultivation resources to watching Si Luyan, Zhang Ruoxi and others, and then returned to the wing room. Before he could make any further movements, a feeling of suffocation suddenly fell from the sky, and it was fleeting. Yang Kai's face changed, and he suddenly became alert. The feeling just now was definitely due to the fact that a strong man swept over with his divine sense. Although it disappeared quickly, Yang Kai still felt the strength of the other party. It is impossible for a strong man at the Emperor Senior level to bring him such a feeling pressure, only the 3rd level of Emperor Zun can achieve this level. Ask the patriarch of the love sect, Feng Zan is here. Yang Kai immediately flashed this idea in his mind, and rushed out of the room. Outside the inn, and Ruian and the others also had pretty faces, obviously aware of something. Those Emperor Senior Realm powerhouses who came to congratulate him not far away also had serious expressions on their faces. Although they knew yesterday that Feng Zan would come today, once they met Bing Yun, there was a high possibility of a fight between dragons and tigers, but at this moment at that time, everyone still felt that the atmosphere was so oppressive that people couldn't breathe. Boom boom boom. In the sky far away, there were constant sounds of explosions, each sound getting closer, and following the sound of the explosions, a figure on the other side galloped towards this side like a ghost. At first, it was still unclear from a distance, but within 3 after resting time, he suddenly descended on the sky above Binglan City, and came to the front of the inn. In an instant, a coercion like a king's dominion over the world suddenly pervaded, the entire Binglan City buzzed, and the space trembled, as if even the world would surrender to it. Hu Yuan and the others looked up, and hurriedly bowed to salute. I've seen Sovereign Feng. In the sky, a person stood proudly, raised his hand and said, "You are welcome." His every move seems to contain a deep mystery, which coincides with the principles of heaven and earth, and the power of Lao lingers around him. Hu Yuan and the others felt a subtle force supporting themselves and others, and they were extremely shocked in their hearts, knowing that the gap between himself and Feng Zan is like a world of difference. Yang Kai looked up and saw a middle-aged man dressed as a Confucian scholar standing in the sky that day. This middle-aged man looked similar to Feng Shi, but he was much more stylish than Feng Shi, and this man was actually extremely handsome, even more heroic than Feng Shi. This is undoubtedly the suzerain of Wenqing sect, Feng Zan. I don't know whether he was born like this or whether it is due to Wenqing's incomparable merit. Coupled with the warm smile on his face, everyone who saw him gave birth to a smile. A feeling like spring breeze. Yang Kai felt extremely uncomfortable. Without him, at this moment Feng Shi and Yao Zhou were standing behind Feng Zan. Both of them were gnashing their teeth and staring at Yang Kai, looking like they wanted to eat people. The night before yesterday, Yang Kai took away both of their space rings. At that time, they were outnumbered and had to make a compromise. Feng Shi even lost face for the rest of his life. Now that Feng Zan is here, he naturally has a backer, and his confidence has hardened, and he secretly decided to avenge his shame, and let Yang Kai know the fate of offending him. Feng Zan just glanced at Yang Kai lightly, and didn't pay any more attention to him. After all, a martial artist at the third level of Daoyuan was like an ant in his eyes. Smiling slightly, he said, Bing Yun, you and I have not seen each other for 3,000 years, and today we can finally meet again, I am so relieved. As soon as he said it, the four directions shook. Whether it was the dozen or so emperors in Bingxin Valley, or the powerhouses from various sects who came to congratulate him, they only guessed that Bingyan lived in that inn, and no one dared to release their spiritual thoughts to take a peek. Ruian and the others knelt at the entrance of the inn for a day and a night, but there was still no trace of Bing Yun's appearance. Hu Yuan and the others even wondered if Bing Yun was still in the inn. If it was there, why didn't they show up, instead asking their disciples to kneel here for people to watch? But Feng Zan's words dispelled everyone's doubts. Bing Yun is definitely in the inn. Otherwise, it would be impossible for Feng Zan to say such a thing. At this moment Feng Zan has already visited Binglan City in person. Bing Yun will show up to meet him no matter what. If he doesn't come out again, it will be rude. But to everyone's surprise, after Feng Zan yelled those words, there was still no movement in the inn, not even Ruian and others who were kneeling at the door of the inn showed any sign. Hu Yuan and the others waited quietly for a while, feeling that the atmosphere was gradually getting more subtle. Cold sweat broke out on their foreheads, and they became inexplicably uneasy. Sure enough, Feng Zan's face gradually darkened. He could feel that Bing Yun was in the inn, but he didn't respond when he took the initiative to greet the other party. Isn't this disrespectful? In front of so many powerful sects in the Northern Territory, how could Feng Zan step down? Bing Yun, after not seeing you for such a long time, your airs have grown too. Feng Zan smiled coldly, obviously extremely displeased. Over there, Ruian frowned, and said loudly, Sect Master Feng, the master has important matters to attend to, so it's inconvenient to answer, please wait a moment. Important matter? Feng Zan raised his eyebrows, he didn't know what he thought of, and nodded slightly, forget it, then I will just wait here. At this time, Feng Shi, who had been staring at Yang Kai bitterly, suddenly moved to Feng Zan's ear, said something in a low voice, and then pointed in the direction where Yang Kai was. The next moment, Feng Zan's eyes burst into light, his eyes fixed behind Yang Kai, and he suddenly shouted, the kid over there. This burst of drinking seemed to be mixed with a subtle power of the soul. Yang Kai only felt a buzzing in his head, and the whole person suddenly became dizzy, so panicked that he quickly urged the power of his spiritual consciousness to resist. In the sea of AA consciousness, the 7-color warming spirit lotus also spun yo-yo, and the 7-color glow was shining brightly. Gentle power was bred from the sea of AA consciousness. Yang Kai felt better, but there was blood oozing from his nose and mouth. Not only that, his whole body seemed to collapse, his calf softened, and he almost fell to his knees. Fortunately, with Wen Shenlian as the base, he forced him to hold on, but staggered slightly. After standing firm, Yang Kai felt an evil fire rushing upwards. This Feng Zan secretly attacked him without saying a word. Not only was it extremely concealed so that others would not notice, he even wanted to suppress himself to the ground. It was clear that he wanted to show himself off. If in front of so many people, he was startled and knelt on the ground by Feng Zan's words, I'm afraid everyone would laugh at his incompetence, and this unbearable experience would definitely become his demon on the road to martial arts. If the demon cannot be eliminated, his martial arts path will probably come to an end here. This Feng Zan is simply too insidious and despicable. Yang Kai gritted his teeth loudly, full of rage. On the other side, Feng Zan raised his brows, showing a surprised expression. Yang Kai didn't kneel down on the ground as he expected, which made him a little surprised. Just now he didn't use too much power to hide, but that's not something a Daoyuan third layer can bear. Even if it's a first layer emperor, if he doesn't check for a while, he will definitely be taken away by himself. Mind, make a fool of yourself in public. But this young man just staggered, which is really strange. But Feng Zan didn't care too much. The huge gap in strength made it difficult for Yang Kai to get into his eyes. Just as he was thinking about it, Yang Kai reached out and wiped the blood oozing from his mouth and nose, and said with a sneer, very well, the people who asked about the emotion sect are indeed a group of people who only know how to bully the weak and use the big to bully the small. Rubbish. The deputy suzerain is like this, even the suzerain is the same. I have gained a lot of knowledge today. What is it called? Wenqing sect? I think you can change your name to Lingwei sect. As soon as he said that, Feng Zhan's complexion changed slightly. He didn't expect Yang Kai to be so courageous, he would be merciless after suffering a loss, and dare to mock him in front of his face. Hu Yuan and the others also opened their mouths wide at once, with cold sweat breaking out on their foreheads. Although they didn't realize what happened just now, but Yang's mouth and nose were bleeding in full view, everyone saw it with their own eyes, and everyone guessed that this young man must have suffered a lot from Feng Zhan's shouting just now. But even if you suffer a loss, you can't make such a big fuss. Has this kid never died before, so I don't know how the word, death, is written. And Ruian and the others were also slow-witted, and when they saw Yang Kai's pale face, they asked in surprise, "Young master, are you all right?" Yang Kai sneered. This young master was attacked by a despicable villain, and his heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys were severely injured. How can he be fine? It's a big deal. As soon as Ruian heard it, she knew that there was nothing serious about him, but she made such a miserable statement on purpose so she couldn't help giving him a bad look. Hu Yuan and the others were also all dizzy. If the hearts, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys were seriously injured, how could they be so angry when speaking? I don't know where this kid came from. He is so ignorant of the heights of the sky and the depths of the earth. It is meaningless for an ignorant person. A Daoyuan third layer dared to challenge Fengshuan sect master. He is really young and energetic, and he is full of enthusiasm. It's not easy for this guy to survive until now. The originally tense atmosphere suddenly became funny after being manipulated by him like this. Don't talk nonsense, boy. Seeing Yang Kai's exaggeration, Feng Zhan was also secretly annoyed. His voice was mixed with the power of the soul. Even if Yang Kai was injured, his consciousness would be injured, and he was worth half a cent to his heart, liver, spleen, lungs and kidneys relation. To be continued. This text is provided by the Breaking Dawn Update group at AC plus or minus a degree a diaresis T. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2424 I am very unhappy. Phone reading. Yang Kai hummed. What is Master Feng Zhan in such a hurry for? I didn't say you were the one who sneaked up on me. Could it be that you are guilty of being a thief yourself? Feng Zhan was at a loss for words immediately. He was a third-layer Emperor Senior. He had to rely on his identity anyway. He couldn't be like Yang Kai and yelled at each other sentence by sentence. That would be too embarrassing. At a critical moment, Feng Shi jumped out and shouted, "The boy is full of nonsense. Dare to insult me and ask Qingzong, quickly kneel down and apologize, but you will not die." He had a ferocious expression, a look of wanting to kill Yang Kai and then hurry up, obviously still remembering what happened the night before. It's no wonder, thinking about when he was pampered since he was a child, when he suffered such grievances and humiliation. Every time I think about it these 2 days, I feel a little ashamed. I can't wait to break Yang Kai's bones and drink his blood to relieve the hatred in my heart. Yang Kai looked at him, he smiled, and said, "Isn't this the young sect master? How come he was so frightened the night before, but now he is so arrogant and majestic? Is this a backer? Oh, don't stare at me, be careful to give the eyeballs to me." It exploded. You fart, how can such a thing happen? Feng Shi gritted his teeth and stared at him, his face turned blue and red, denying it incessantly. Yang Kai snorted coldly and said, "The young master cried and begged me to spare your life the night before. This young master is pitiful, and I kindly let you go. I never thought that the young master would not only not be grateful, but instead repay his kindness. What is this reason?" When Hu Yuan and the others heard this, they all looked at Feng Shi with strange expressions. I thought to myself that there was such a festival between these two young people, and I don't know what happened the night before, so that the young lord of Wen Qingzong cried and begged the young man to spare his life. But when something like this happened, it's no wonder they didn't deal with it like this. Feng Shi wanted to explain something, but Feng Zhan stopped him with a wave of his hand. Feng Shi blushed suddenly with anger. But he didn't dare to disobey his father's order, so he could only swallow his grievances, and his eyes were full of accusations of blood and tears. Feng Zhan looked at Yang Kai, and said indifferently, "Young people, it's not a bad thing to be arrogant, but you have to judge the situation. Blindly bragging about fighting bravely is just what reckless people do." Bah! Yang Kai spat on the ground, stood there lazily, clenched his fist at Feng Zhan lazily, and said, "My lord taught me, I will keep it in my heart, but what do you want to say?" Feng Zhan frowned, and said, "I heard that you robbed me of 2 space rings from Qingqing sect the night before." "Snatched 2 space rings from Wenqing sect? When Hu Yuan and the others heard this, they all stared wide-eyed, one or two shocked Yang Kai into a heavenly being. They saw Yang Kai being so bold before. I just thought that this kid might be a stunned young man, but now it seems that this is not only a stunned young man, he is simply a lunatic. Looking at the entire Northern Territory, who would dare to ask about the space ring of the emotional sect? This kid is lucky, not only snatched it, but also got 2 coins for 1 snatch. I don't know which unlucky guy lost his space ring, and what precious things are inside. Sect Master Feng Xuan actually provoked him to personally intervene in this matter. This kid is over, just relying on this one. I'm afraid he won't be able to see tomorrow's raising his eyes. Yang Kai looked solemn, and shouted, "My lord, you can eat the food indiscriminately, but you can't talk indiscriminately. What is robbery? It's the act of robbers. I act openly and above board. I have always acted righteously and sat upright. I have never done anything wrong. For this kind of thing, the adults use the word, grab, to describe me, that would tarnish this young master's noble character. I am very unhappy." With a serious expression on his face suddenly darkened, as if he was really angry. Hu Yuan and the others all stretched out their hands and wiped the cold sweat from their foreheads. These emperors, who have traveled across the star world for thousands of years, have not really gained knowledge until today. They just feel that the things they have seen in this life are not as severe as what they see today. I don't know where to jump. The young man who came out is also a strange thing. He didn't show any weakness in the face of a third-layer emperor, but he talked like this with eloquence. Yao Zhou shouted angrily, "Didn't you snatch the space ring between me and Zaire? Don't open your eyes and talk nonsense, kid." As soon as the words came out, fine sweat broke out on the foreheads that Hu Yuan and the others had just wiped, and thought to themselves that the 2 unlucky bastards who lost the space ring were actually the deputy suzerain and the young suzerain of Wenqing sect. This matter has become a big deal, and there is no way to end it. Originally they thought that Yang Kai had snatched the rings of the 2 disciples of Wenqing sect, but that was not the case at all. Forget about Fengxi, it's only the 3rd level of Daoyuan, but Yao Zhou is the 2nd level of Emperor Senior known to the world. How can such a strong man be robbed of the space ring? Regardless of the final outcome of this matter, Wen Qingzong would be ashamed. The space rings of the deputy suzerain and the young suzerain were snatched by a young man in the 3rd level of Daoyuan, and spread it, asking how the love sect will gain a foothold in the northern region in the future. Hu Yuan could almost predict that this bizarre event would be arranged into an allegro by good people, and then sang in the streets and alleys. Within 10 years, no one who asked the Qingzong would be able to raise his head. It turned out to be those 2 space rings. Yang Kai woke up like a dream, his face suddenly realized, and then his face sank, and he said, "The deputy suzerain must speak with conscience, why did I snatch those 2 rings? Here, 1 ring is a bargaining chip for the vice suzerain to make a deal with this young master, while the other is fortified by the young suzerain to me. I don't feel at ease if I don't accept him. I reluctantly took it. Now you want to beat him up. Bastard." Yao Zhou was almost driven mad by Yang Kai, and his body was mobilized fiercely, as if he was about to tear Yang Kai into pieces. Yang Kai nimbly jumped back, jumped directly in front of Ruian and the others, glared at him and said, "What are you doing? You want to kill someone, try it." "Sovereign." Yao Zhou turned his head, cupped his fists at Feng Zan and said, "I'm going to kill him." Feng Zan said lightly, "You can't kill it." Yang Kai hid within Ruian and the others. Yao Zhou had no chance to kill Yang Kai at all, and Feng Zan, as the lord of Wenqing sect, couldn't personally kill Yang Kai here. He suddenly discovered that the origin of the unknown young man actually gave him a headache. It seemed to be even more difficult to deal with than Bing Yun. After pondering for a moment, he looked at Yang Kai and said indifferently, "Little brother, the dragon among men, will become a great weapon in the future, and those 2 rings are the right to be a gift from this sect to you." Yang Kai raised his eyebrows and snorted, "My lord is very good at talking cheap." Feng Zan knew that he would never be able to take the ring back in his hands, so he simply said it was a meeting gift for himself, which was shameless to the extreme, but saying this could also show the generosity of Wen Qingzong and save some face. "However, there is one thing in it that I have to take back. I also asked the little brother to cooperate." Yang Kai frowned. "What?" When he checked it before, he didn't find anything special in the ring, although there were indeed many treasures. "A green-blooded unicorn," Feng Zan said in a deep voice. "Blood-blooded unicorn," Yang Kai murmured, and then, his divine sense swept across the space ring, and soon, he flipped his palm, and a dark red unicorn statue appeared. This unicorn statue is about 3 inches high, and the carving is lifelike. It was lifelike, but Yang Kai didn't know what material it was carved from. Before he glanced at it and threw it into the space ring. Now that Feng Zan mentioned it, he suddenly remembered it. That's it. Feng Zan nodded and said. What's so special about this thing? Yang Kai asked curiously, not knowing why Feng Zan wanted to take back this thing on purpose. Feng Zan didn't hide it either, and said, this thing is useless to the little brother, it is the status symbol of the young suzerain's wife of this sect, it was passed down from the patriarch of the sect's founder, it is of great significance to the Wenqing sect. Young sect master's wife's status symbol. Yang Kai raised his brows, glanced at Ziyu who was still kneeling there, thinking that Feng Shi still cared about her, and he had 69 beautiful concubines in his family. Giving this green-blooded unicorn to Ziyu as a betrothal gift, obviously he valued her very much. It's no wonder that Ziyu is the #1 rising star in Bingxin Valley, no matter in terms of background or qualifications, she matches Feng Shi, which is unmatched by those 69 concubines. He didn't know whether what Feng Zan said was true or not, and he didn't know if there was any secret hidden in the green blood unicorn. While he was thinking, a voice transmission suddenly came from a person next to his ear. Feng Zan didn't lie, this green blood unicorn is indeed a treasure of every generation. The status symbol of the young sovereign's wife, only the possession of this green blood unicorn can be regarded as the young sovereign's wife, and the other women are just the young sovereign's concubines. The person who transmitted the sound was in Ruian, she would definitely not tell lies. Yang Kai nodded secretly. Yes, this jade blood qilin must be taken back, please return it to this seat. Feng Zan stretched out a hand towards Yang Kai while speaking. Yang Kai smiled and said, my lord only wants this thing. The treasures in those 2 rings are incomparably rich, so don't you want other things? Feng Zan said proudly, although those things are precious, they are nothing to me, Wen Qingzong, but this green unicorn cannot be lost. Yang Kai laughed loudly, and said, the Wenqing sect is indeed the top sect in the Northern Territory. It is really rich and powerful, so many treasures are not taken seriously, it is eye-opening. Feng Shi snorted coldly, and said sarcastically, I've never seen a bumpkin in the market. Yang Kai glanced at him with a smile, a meaningful smile. Feng Shi shivered for no reason, and a very bad feeling suddenly lingered in his heart. Suddenly, Yang Kai turned his head to look at Feng Zan, and said, my lord wants to take back this green blood unicorn, but it is not impossible to discuss it. After all, this thing has great symbolic meaning to the noble sect, and I am not easy to take it away, love. It's best if you understand. Feng Zan said lightly. Yang Kai said with a chuckle, I told the young sect master and the deputy sect master the night before that everything in this world can be discussed, and there is nothing wrong with the adults wanting to return this jade blood qilin, as long as, just make up for it. Quote. While speaking, he quickly rubbed his middle finger and thumb together, looking as if he was interested in money. Hu Yuan and others who were watching from the side completely fainted. To be continued. Chapter 2425. The lion opened his mouth wide. Feng Zai's face turned pale all of a sudden, and his throat was blocked. When Yang Kai said that last time, he and Yao Zhou lost the space ring. He said that again this time. I really don't know how he will open his mouth like a lion. He suddenly understood what was going on with the previous anxiety. Feng Zan also looked at Yang Kai with a strange expression, and said lightly, are you discussing the conditions with me? Yang Kai glanced at him casually, and said, since my lord wants to take back this jade-blooded unicorn, he will have to pay a price. You are old enough, don't you know that there is no free lunch in this world? Feng Zan suppressed the anger in his heart, his face was extremely ugly, and he hummed, how much? Yang Kai laughed loudly. My lord speaks quickly, much better than your son, for your straightforward character, I don't need too much, as long as this number is enough. He held out a finger and waved it lightly in front of his face. Feng Zan nodded slightly, 10 million is not too much. Yang Kai's expression was stunned, and he smiled and said, 10 million, are you kidding me? This green blood unicorn is something that has been passed down from the ancestors of your ancestors. Although it is not a treasure, it also has great symbolic meaning. In the eyes of adults, this thing is only worth 10 million. You want 100 million? Feng Zan's eyes burst into a cold light, and he shouted angrily, young people have too much appetite, be careful to burst your belly. 100 million. Yang Kai sneered, Qing sect's family has a great career in wealth, so you have the nerve to take out 100 million. You're too embarrassed to take it, but you're too embarrassed to accept it. You don't have to lose the face of Wenqing sect. Could it be, you want 1 billion? Feng Zhan's head buzzed, and he almost vomited blood angrily. 1 billion middle-grade source crystals is nothing to Wenqing Zhang, right? Yang Kai grinned. Middle-grade source crystal. Feng Zhan's mouth twitched. He thought that Yang Kai's 1 billion was just a low-grade source crystal, but he didn't expect it to be a middle-grade source crystal. There is 100 times difference between the two, even if it is converted into a high-grade source crystal Yuan Jing, that is also 10 million, he suddenly said angrily. Little bastard, so you are just using this seat to start a brush, and you have no intention of returning it sincerely, and this seat will teach your lord a lesson today. Let you know that there is no one in this world who can't be offended. Previously, he was unwilling to take action against Yang Kai in person, mainly because of his status. After all, there are so many people watching here, and it is really not good for him, a strong man at the 3rd level of Emperor Senior, to attack a 3rd level of Daoyuan. But now being entangled by Yang Kai's nonsense, Feng Zhan is also mad. How can he care so much? Even if he kills Yang Kai now, others will probably not think that he is bullying the small. After all, the young man's performance just now it's a bit too disgusting. While speaking, he slapped Yang Kai from a distance, and the world changed color in an instant, and the laws surged. The entire Binglan city seemed to be enveloped by the power of this palm. Everyone felt short of breath and felt blocked. Hu Yuan and the others all changed their colors in shock. They all backed away, secretly feeling sorry for Yang Kai. This kid is really too ignorant, provoking a 3rd layer Emperor Senior again and again, really thinks his life is long. Everyone could almost foresee the scene where his corpse would be killed next. There was no sign of Feng Zhan's attack, and when the girls of Bingxin Valley reacted and wanted to rescue them, it was too late. Yang Kai was also directly suppressed by the power of the Emperor, unable to move. His face was pale, but he didn't mean to be frightened at all. Instead he looked at Feng Zhan calmly, his eyes were full of teasing color. With a soft sound, a snow-white sword light suddenly shot out from somewhere in the inn, and went straight to meet the palm print that Feng Zhan had taken, with momentum like a rainbow. Immediately afterwards, the sound of explosion came out, and a huge shock wave spread in all directions, and the houses within a radius of thousands of feet of the impact were swaying. The palm print disappeared without a trace in an instant, but the sword energy that reached the sky shot straight into the sky and disappeared in an instant. After everyone came back to their senses, they found that there was a young girl beside Yang Kai. This young girl didn't look very old, about 17 or 18 years old, but her aura was extremely pure, not stained with any dust. Feng Zhan's eyelids shrank, and his eyes instantly fixed on the girl. Ruian and the others also stared at her beautifully, looking at her in surprise and excitement, and tremblingly said, Master. Master. When Hu Yuan and the others who were watching not far away heard this, how could they not know who this girl is? This is clearly the founding patriarch of Bingxin Valley, that Emperor Senior 3rd layer powerhouse who has been missing for 3,000 years, Bing Yun. Disciple pays homage to Master. Ruian and others bowed to the ground. Bing Yun glanced at them indifferently, and didn't know what she was thinking. She didn't want to pay attention to their intentions, but turned her beautiful eyes to Yang Kai, snorted, and said softly, You are too courageous. She was obviously talking about Yang Kai's continuous provocation of Feng Zhan. Bing Yun has also lived for tens of thousands of years, but after these tens of thousands of years, she has never seen such a bold person as Yang Kai, who dared to shout like a 3rd layer Emperor Senior realm don't stop, haggle. Hey, Yang Kai replied with a playful smile, Senior is behind me, what am I afraid of? After a pause, he asked nervously, How is your recovery, Senior? Bing Yun said softly, It's almost there. Hearing what she said, Yang Kai couldn't help feeling relieved. Since Bing Yun said that it was almost the same, it must have recovered completely. In other words, there is no problem in doing it now. As long as she can do it, Feng Zhan is nothing to fear. Bing Yun, what do you mean? Feng Zhan looked at Bing Yun coldly, and sternly said, If I remember correctly, your Bingxin Valley does not accept male disciples, right? Why do you want to prevent me from teaching this person? Kid. Bing Yun glanced at him and said, Wait a minute, I'll deal with the affairs in the valley first, and then I'll argue with you. Feng Zhan's expression froze, but he couldn't refute anything. Looking at the entire star field, there are not many people who are qualified to talk to him like this, but Bing Yun is definitely one of them. Being brothers, Feng Zhan is quite afraid of Bing Yun, so even if he feels blocked at the moment, he has to sell her face. Bing Yun turned around, looked at Ruian and the others, and said calmly, "Get up, what are you still kneeling for?" Ruian and the others lowered their heads, but no one got up. Bing Yun snorted coldly and said, "I've been away for 3,000 years, so it's hard to talk, right? No wonder you dare to marry off the best disciples in the valley. When did I, Bingxin Valley, fall to the point of acting on other people's faces? These little girls are really amazing." From her tone of voice, she obviously knew the ins and outs. It should be that Bing Yun heard some information when everyone was chatting outside just now. Ruian's delicate body trembled slightly, knowing that the master was really angry. She said in panic, "The disciples and others are responsible for the master's teaching, please punish the master." Sun Yunsho said anxiously, "Master, this matter has nothing to do with other sisters. I promised to marry Wenqingzong. If master wants to punish me, just find me alone. Take it as if I dare not punish you." Bing Yun looked at Sun Yunsho coldly. Sun Yunsho, a strong second-tier emperor, looked like a mouse seeing a cat with Bing Yun's eyes. Her body trembled and she gritted her teeth, not saying a word. At this moment, Ziyu said, "Patriarch, calm down, the great elder did that for the sake of the sect, and asked Patriarch to avoid her." It was extremely surprising that she would intercede for Sun Yunsho. Even Sun Yunsho herself seemed a little unexpected, and her beautiful eyes suddenly became complicated. Bing Yun turned her eyes to Ziyu, softened a lot, and said lightly, "You girl is also soft-hearted, and I don't think who is going to push you into the fire pit, and at this time you are still speaking for others." Ziyu shook her head and said, "The great elder really has no choice. If he doesn't do this, the other sisters in the valley will have no way out. If Ziyu can sacrifice Ziyu's happiness to keep the sisters safe, Ziyu is also willing. I just don't know why, but I just want to run outside, the farther the better. Ida s Ziyu who is ignorant, so don't blame other people, Patriarch." While speaking, tears streamed down his face, obviously very bitter. Bing Yun opened his mouth, but in the end he couldn't say anything, sighed heavily, and said, "Don't worry, with me here, no one will try to do anything to you." Ziyu burst into laughter and said, "Thank you, Patriarch." Bing Yun's words were like a reassurance to her, and made her calm down suddenly, and she no longer had the feeling of fear before. Bing Yun looked at Sun Yunsho again, and said, "Your fault, I will make a decision after I return to the valley, get up first." "Thank you, Master," all the girls responded in unison before standing up. Bing Yun's soft eyes swept over their faces one by one, and found that among the dozen or so Emperor's Senior Realm disciples, nearly half of them were the disciples she accepted back then, and now they have all been promoted to the Emperor's Senior Realm, and some of them looked familiar to her. Should be an outstanding talent in the sect. Although they are not her direct disciples, they are also the first batch of disciples in Bingxin Valley. There are only 2 or 3 Emperor's Senior Realm. She looks strange and has never seen them before. These 2 or 3 Emperor Senior Realms should have been recruited into Bingxin Valley by Ruian and others later. There are some warriors who practice alone without background and backing. The chance is against the sky, and they can cultivate to a very high level of martial arts. With support, you can cultivate to a very high level. If you give them a little support, there is a great possibility of being promoted to the Emperor level. For example, Yongkai. If these people want to take refuge in those big sects, they only need to pass some simple tests and inspections to get in. Of course, even after getting in, there will be a long inspection period to make sure that this person has no conspiracy against the sect. Will be entrusted with heavy responsibility. The 2 or 3 Emperor Senior Realms that Bing Yun looked at strangely should have been recruited into Bingxin Valley through this method. Now that they are standing here, it means that there is no problem with their loyalty. "Where are Shaoxin, Xiaowu, and Xiaoju?" Bing Yun asked suddenly, as if she had a premonition of something. Her expression was slightly sad. Ruian quickly replied, "The 3rd junior sister also went out to look for you shortly after the master left Bingxin Valley, and her whereabouts are still unknown. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation." Chapter 2426 Ben Xiao is as timid as a mouse. Bing Yun shrank her eyes and said, "Is her longevity lamp here?" Ruian said, "Yes, so 3rd junior sister is still alive, but I don't know where she is." "That's good." Bing Yun breathed a sigh of relief. Ruian said again, 5th junior sister, she, failed to be promoted to Emperor Senior Realm, and fell down. Bing Yun's delicate body trembled slightly when she heard the words, but quickly regained her composure, and sighed, Time is fate, Xiaowu's character is too radical, and I knew her future would not be too smooth. And Ruian said with red eyes, it's me, the senior sister, who didn't take good care of her. Bing Yun shook her head and said, it has nothing to do with you. What about Xiaoju? Is she alive or dead? And Ruian replied, junior sister Ju has been retreating in the valley for 10 years. She said that this time she will never leave the seclusion without being promoted to the Emperor Senior Realm. Very good. Bing Yun smiled slightly. She has traveled for 3,000 years, and among the 9 disciples she has accepted, 7 have been promoted to the Emperor Senior Realm. Among them, Ruian and Sun Yunshou have lived up to her expectations and reached the Emperor Senior Realm. At the level of the second-level realm, 1 person fell into the baptism of heaven and earth, and only the last youngest Xiaoju was left in retreat. Such a result, she can still accept. As a master to her level, it can be regarded as the only one in the star realm, who can accept so many apprentices who have been promoted to the Emperor Senior Realm. I really don't know whether it's her teaching better, or Bing Xinggu's raising people. Bingyan, let's talk about the family talk later. Over there, Feng Zan urged in a loud voice, looking extremely impatient. Bing Yun snorted coldly, turned her head to look at him and said, I have been away for 3,000 years, Sect Master Feng has taken good care of me, Bingxin Valley. There was a strong sense of sarcasm in her tone. Obviously she was angry that Wen Qingzong would bully her own sect while she was away, forcing them to marry their best disciples. Feng Zan said lightly, you and I are the top sects in the Northern Territory, so we should join forces. I don't think there is anything wrong. Why don't you see Bing Yun? Is it because I don't like it, or is Suzerain Feng bullying too much? Bing Yun yelled, you can be regarded as an older generation. It is very fulfilling to rely on the old to bully a few little girls. Feng Zan frowned, and said, Bingyan, you are still so sharp-tongued, I don't have the same knowledge as you. Today I am here, there are only 2 things, one is to let the dog and Miss Ziyu get married smoothly, and the other is I want to get back that green-blooded unicorn. Bing Yun, if you still think about our old relationship, please do 1 or 2. Bing Yun smiled coldly, raised her green fingers, and said in a deep voice, then I will also make it clear to you. 1. Ziyu is my disciple of Bingxin Valley, and will never marry your useless son, you should die as soon as possible this heart. 2. I don't care about the jade blood Qilin, grab it if you have the ability, get out of Binglan City as soon as possible if you don't, so as not to lose face in front of the heroes of the Northern Territory and make it difficult to go out in the future. Feng Zan was surprised by Bing Yun's aggressive attitude. Hu Yuan and the others over there were even more horrified, feeling an extremely oppressive aura hanging over their bodies, making them feel like a mountain of pressure. These 2 powerhouses seem to be ready to fight if they have a disagreement. Once they really fight, the Binglan City will definitely be gone. They are already thinking about whether they should leave now, so as not to become the fish in the pond that was affected by the disaster. Feng Zan was silent for a long time, then he grinned and said sarcastically, couldn't this kid be your illegitimate child, to let you protect him like this? As soon as he said that, Ruian and the others all changed their faces. Feng Zan, a strong man with status, actually tried to tarnish Bing Yun's reputation in front of so many people. It was simply ulterior motives. All of a sudden, all the girls in Bingxin Valley were furious, their silver teeth clenched tightly, and they glared at Feng Zan, as if they wanted to go up and bite him to death. Contrary to everyone's expectations, Bing Yun didn't mean to be angry at all when he heard this, but instead gave Yang Kai a deep look, and said lightly, if I have such an heir, then I will have no regrets in this life. Feng Zan was dumbfounded, and Ruian and the others also opened their mouths wide, looking at their master in surprise. One screamed wildly in his heart, what does this mean? Is this the default or what? Could this young man really be Bing Yun's illegitimate child? Otherwise, why not only did she not mean to be angry at all, but she also said such words? For a time, the eyes of everyone looking at Yang Kai became a little different, as if they were looking at a person who was branded as Bingxin Valley. Yang Kai couldn't help wiping the sweat off his forehead, and said to Bing Yun with a bitter face, Senior, it's inevitable that people will misunderstand you when you say such things. Bing Yun pursed her lips and smiled, and said, tell me what you want, don't take it to heart. She also didn't intend to take advantage of Yang Kai, but she knew that Feng Zan was deliberately disgusting herself like that, because she wanted to mess up her state of mind, so she acted neither salty nor dull. It seems that this kid has a deep relationship with you. Feng Zan immediately realized that the relationship between Yang Kai and Bing Yun was a bit unusual, otherwise Bing Yun would definitely not care about his reputation and say such things. However, even if he is really your illegitimate child, the jade blood Qilin must be handed over today, otherwise don't blame me for being cruel. Feng Zan shouted sharply, and suddenly took a step forward. The whole world was shaken by his step, as if he was about to surrender. For no reason, the sky above Binglan City seemed to be pressing down on a huge mountain, making people feel tight in the chest and panting. Yang Kai's face paled slightly, he held up the green-blooded unicorn, and snorted coldly, "This young master is as timid as a mouse, Lord Feng Zan, please don't scare me, or if this young master gets nervous, there is nothing serious in his hands to destroy this thing. Not good." Everyone was speechless when they heard the words, and thought to themselves that you kid really dare to open your eyes and tell nonsense. If you are as cowardly as a mouse, then there will be no brave people in this world. While Yang Kai was speaking, the source force was secretly urging, and there was a slight click sound on the jade-blooded unicorn. Seeing this situation, Feng Zai's eyes popped out, and he exclaimed in shock, "Father, he really wants to destroy the jade blood Qilin." "Stop!" Feng Zan also yelled sharply, "You dare to destroy it, I will make you die without a place to die." Yang Kai yelled, "Aiya, everyone said that I am as timid as a mouse, why do you still scare me like this? I am really afraid of death." As he spoke, the strength in his hands increased again, and the clicking sound suddenly became more intense. Feng Zan's breath was stagnant, his face was extremely livid. This green blood unicorn is actually not a precious treasure. And it is indeed a status symbol of the wife of the young sect master of the Wenqing sect, because every generation of the young sect master of the Wenqing sect will have many wives and concubines, and only the person holding the jade blood Qilin is the real wife of the young sect master, to manage the harem for the young suzerain, so that the young suzerain can practice with peace of mind, and will not be affected by the jealousy of women. If such a symbolic thing was destroyed in full view, it would be like a slap in the face of Wen Qingzong. Seeing that it was too hard to do, Feng Zan could only take a deep breath, restrained his momentum, and said with an ugly face, "Boy, what exactly do you want?" Yang Kai snorted coldly, "I have already set the conditions, why should Master Feng Zan ask? You dare to ask for 1 billion middle-grade source crystals." Feng Zan said angrily, although 1 billion source crystals is nothing to Wen Qingzong, but giving it to Yang Kai for no reason still made Feng Zan feel very sad uncomfortable. Yang Kai narrowed his eyes and said, "How much do you think you can pay?" "Up to 100 million, kid, don't push yourself." Feng Zan snorted. "Okay, 100 million is 100 million, this young master is also a good talker." Yang Kai grinned. This reaction made everyone stunned. I didn't expect Yang Kai to really agree like this. After all, he just opened his mouth like a lion and looked lawless. Everyone thought that he would blackmail Qingqing sect for $1 billion. What about Yuanjing? Judging from Feng Zan's emphasis on the jade-blooded unicorn, as long as Yang Kai persisted, he would definitely be able to get 1 billion source crystals, but he didn't even think about bargaining and just compromised like this. Should be afraid. Young people always rush forward when they do things, and they will be terrified when they calm down. However, a Daoyuan third-level realm dared to blackmail 100 million source crystals from the suzerain of the Wenqing sect. I don't know if it is unprecedented, but it is definitely unprecedented. "Senior Bing Yun, please take a shot." Yang Kai suddenly turned his head to look at Bing Yun and said. Bing Yun didn't know what he was going to do again, so he asked suspiciously, "What are you doing?" Yang Kai took the jade blood Qilin in his hand, gestured at it, and said, "Lord Feng Zan is only willing to pay 1/10 of the price, so of course I can only trade with him for 1/10. Senior, you cut off 1/10 of this thing, we have always been fair in business, we will not take advantage of others, and we will not let others take advantage of us." Bing Yun was secretly amused when she heard this. It was hard for Yang Kai to think of such a wicked idea. He glanced at him quietly, and with a flick of his wrist, a long sword as white as snow appeared in the palm of his hand, as if he was about to chop off 1/10 of it. Yang Kai looked up at Feng Zan, smiled coldly, and said, "My lord, I don't know if you are satisfied with the result." Feng Xuanqi almost vomited blood, and before he could say anything, Yang Kai said again, "If my lord can pay 500 million, I will let Senior Bingyan cut off half of it. How many source crystals are available? It depends on whether my lord can pay or not. I can afford the price, I am very fair, how much do you want now?" Feng Zan's chest was filled with qi and blood, and he almost couldn't catch his breath. He felt that he had never been so angry in his life, and all of this was thanks to that young man. Hu Yuan and the others were also secretly heartbroken, thinking that this young man is really ruthless, and he will not let go if he insists on 1,000,000,000 source crystals. If it is true that 1/10 or half of it is cut off, does the jade blood qilin still have meaning? It's just, if you offend Wen Qingzong to death like this, will there be a way out in the future? Unless he is really Bing Yun's illegitimate child. To be continued. This text is provided by the Breaking Dawn update group at AC plus or minus a degree a diaresis T. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2427 Not Biological. Father, the jade blood qilin seal cannot be destroyed. Feng Shi said in shock. Shut up, Feng Zan yelled angrily, staring at Feng Shi with a look of hatred. He suddenly discovered that there was a huge disparity between his son and this young man. Is it because I was too pampered in the past? Feng Zan secretly reflected. Over there, Yang Kai said again. It seems that Master Feng can't afford to produce this 1,000,000,000 middle-grade source crystals. Hey, what did you say just now that the Wenqing sect family has a big business, rich wealth, and I am a bumpkin who has never seen the market? I expect to be able to open my eyes, but I don't want to. Tisk tisk tisk, Senior Bingyun, since he can't afford the price, then let's kill him. Bingyun nodded slightly, and raised the long sword in his hand high. Feng Zan's face was ashen, and he hurriedly said, okay, 1,000,000,000 is 1,000,000,000. It's just 1,000,000,000 middle-grade source crystals. It's not that he can't get it out. He has been unwilling to agree before, mainly because he doesn't want to let Yang Kai lead him by the nose. He is at the 3rd level of Emperor Senior, and he is swayed by Yang Kai in front of so many people. It's too outrageous. But now he has nothing to do, he has to agree if he doesn't agree. Fresh, Sir Feng is indeed a straightforward person, I appreciate your character. Yang Kai laughed. As soon as these words came out, even the indifferent as ice cloud, a little sweat broke out on his forehead, thinking that you kid really dare to say it. Feng Zan said with a cold face, I can give you the 1,000,000,000 middle-grade source crystals, but I still have one condition. Yang Kai hummed. Master Feng hasn't woken up yet. Do you think you still have the qualifications to bargain with this young master? Bring the source crystal first and then talk about other things. Feng Zan looked at him sarcastically, and said, you didn't listen to my seat's condition and refused it. Yang Kai said disdainfully, a dog can't spit out ivory, I'm not willing to listen. While speaking, he stretched out a hand to Feng Zan, and shouted, pay with one hand, and deliver with one hand, don't grinding. Feng Zan suppressed his anger by force, and said lightly, Guzi suffered a bit from your hands the night before, young man, you have to get up wherever you fall, Guzi wants to challenge you today, I don't know if little brother has the courage to agree. As if to match his words, Feng Shi took a step forward, looking down at Yang Kai with a look of disdain in his eyes, completely gone from the trepidation of the previous night. Feng Shi didn't think Yang Kai was so powerful, the reason why he suffered such a big loss the night before was mainly because Yang Kai pretended to be a tiger and borrowed the power of a group of emperors in Bingxin Valley. He and Yang Kai had never fought head-on. As the young sect master of the Wenqing sect, he has learned the most powerful exercises and secret techniques in the world, and he has even more powerful secret treasures in his hands. Among the warriors of the same realm, almost no one is his opponent. In a one-on-one fight alone, Feng Shi thought that he would not lose to anyone. Today, the day before yesterday, Wen Qingzong had lost face, and if he wanted to win back the city, he could only start with Yang Kai, the instigator. It is impossible for Feng Zan and Yao Zhou to directly attack Yang Kai. Once they make a move, a group of Emperor Senior realm in Bingxin Valley will definitely not sit idly by, which is equivalent to directly detonating 2 wars. The only possibility is to let Feng Shi challenge Yang Kai, and then kill him in full view to save Wen Qingzong's face. Feng Shi obviously knew what his father was planning, so even though the father and son hadn't discussed it in advance, he quickly stood up at this moment with a provocative look on his face. Yang Kai glanced at him, grinned and said, young sect master, I'm afraid you are not your own. Feng Shi was stunned for a moment, then reacted immediately, and said angrily, little Guang will show off his tongue. Yang Kai said disdainfully, if it's your own, how could Lord Feng be so eager to ask you to come out to die? Feng Shi said with a sullen face, how dare you look down on me? If we have the ability, we will have a showdown on the ring. The one who wins will marry Ziyu, and the one who loses will get out of the Northern Territory and never come back again. Over there, Ziyu frowned slightly, and said in dissatisfaction, it's none of my business. This fengshi is also interesting, and he dragged himself into it for no reason, which is really infuriating, but when he thought of Yang's opening his mouth the night before, and saying in front of many people that he and herself had already made a secret decision for life, Ziyu immediately understood this. It's jealousy. But those words were just Yang Kai's excuses. None of the dozen or so senior uncles asked about the matter afterwards. Obviously they all knew the whole story, but Feng Shi took it seriously. This IQ is really worrying. Based on this alone, it is impossible for Ziyu to have a crush on Feng Shi. Hand over Yuan Jing first. Lord Feng won't want to deny it, will he? Yang Kai ignored Feng Zai's provocation, but turned his head and shouted at Feng Zan. Feng Zan sneered, took out a space ring that he had prepared, and said, the source crystals are all here, but why did the little brother change the topic? Is it because I am afraid that the dog will fail? If you are afraid, you apologize, the dog is cultivated. Yes, I may not be able to forgive you. Give me the source crystal first, and I'll talk to you later. Yang Kai urged impatiently. Feng Zan snorted coldly, and threw the space ring over with a face full of pain. Yang Kai stretched out his hand to take it, swept his spiritual mind inside, and immediately beamed with joy. There are not 1 billion source crystals in this ring, but there are 5 million high-grade source crystals and 500 million middle-grade source crystals. When converted, it is exactly 1 billion. It seems that Wen Qingzong is really rich, and the 1 billion source crystals were taken out as soon as they were said, and Yang Kai suddenly regretted that he didn't ask for a higher price before. Seeing Feng Zan's appearance, he should be able to come up with more talent. Yes. Confirming the number of source crystals was correct, Yang Kai threw back the jade blood Qilin seal. Feng Zan didn't even look at it, he threw it directly to Feng Shi, and said indifferently, if you lose it again, you don't have to be the young suzerain anymore. Feng Zai's complexion changed, and he said hastily, don't worry, father, the child will be taken care of properly and will never lose it again. Feng Zan nodded slightly, looked at Yang Kai again, and said, how did you think about the previous proposal? Yang Kai sneered. My lord, are you really in such a hurry to send your son to Wangquan Road? It seems that he is not his own son, so it is no wonder that your lord has countless wives and concubines with limited energy, so it is inevitable that you can't take care of them. Ladies, go out and steal some wild food every once in a while. It's normal too. Hu Yuan and the others all had extremely weird expressions, each of them wanted to laugh, but they didn't dare to laugh, and it was extremely hard to hold back. In this world, who dares to talk to Feng Zan like this? Isn't it clear that Feng Zan's head was green? Everyone's awareness of Yang Kai's boldness has been refreshed again, and they are extremely admirable and terrified at the same time. Because they were really afraid that Yang Kai would completely irritate Feng Zan, and a furious Emperor Senior 3-layer would be a disaster. Boy, you are presumptuous. Feng Zan was really furious, and whoever was said like this would probably not be calm. Yang Kai sternly shouted. Why, when Master Feng Zan slandered Senior Bingyan before, he was in high spirits, but now he is going to turn his face when he is slandered by others. Sir, you can't cultivate your heart, and compared with Senior Bingyan, it is a world of difference. Feng Zan was startled when he heard the words, but he soon regained his composure. He no longer had the irritable and angry expression before, but a calm expression instead. Apparently he had adjusted himself. After being indifferent for a while, he said lightly, not to mention other things in advance, today's competition between you and Zaire must be carried out. Yang Kai snorted coldly. Since my lord is so unreasonable in bullying the weak, then this young master has no choice but to agree. He really didn't pay much attention to Feng Shi. Even if Feng Shi really had some trump card in his hand, he was confident that he could escape. Thinking of this, Yang Kai asked Bing Yun in a low voice, will something happen if I kill him? Bing Yun frowned. She didn't question Yang Kai's words at all, but she knew how powerful Yang Kai was, even killed Emperor Senior Realm Yang Kai, so how powerful could Feng Shi be? She pondered for a while, and said, it's best not to kill. If Feng Shi is killed by you in full view, Feng Zan will definitely not let it go. Although I, Bing Xingyu, am not afraid of him, once the two sects start a war, the disciples will definitely die. Countless, the gains outweigh the losses. Understood. Yang Kai nodded, with a wicked smile on the corner of his mouth, and said, then it will be disabled. Hearing this, Bing Yun glanced at Feng Shi who was over there triumphantly rubbing his fists, feeling a tinge of sympathy in his heart. On the other side, when everyone saw that Yang Kai had really agreed to Feng Zai's invitation to fight, they all had different expressions. The faces of the girls in Bingxin Valley were full of worry and anxiety. Although they didn't know what Yang Kai was good at, Feng Shi was asking for love anyway. Young Master Zong, how could he not have some unique skills? Even if Ziyu fights alone with him, he may not be able to retreat completely. Can this Yang Kai really do it? On the contrary, Hu Yuan and the others were all excited. They were not excited because of the competition between two Daoyuan third-layer realms. It's because in this way, the conflict between the two major forces of Bingxin Valley and Wenqingzong can be resolved through this competition, and there is no need to worry about causing turmoil in the entire northern territory. This is what they expect to see, so they are still a little grateful to Yang Kai for agreeing to this competition. Anyone can see that Yang Kai can completely ignore this competition, and Feng Zan is also too unreasonable, using power to overwhelm others. At this point, Hu Yuan hurriedly said, I remember that there is a ready-made arena in the city. If you don't mind, why not move over there? Feng Zan slightly nodded and said, if that's the case, then let's go. While speaking, his body swayed, and with the surge of Emperor Yuan, he took Feng Shi and disappeared in place. Yao Zhou glared at Yang Kai coldly, with a mocking look on his face, and followed. Master, if you really can't do it, let Ziyu go up. Feng Shi will never dare to kill Ziyu, and Ziyu and him are also brothers, so they may not be opponents. He said whatever he wanted, and didn't care about Yang Kai's feelings, so he almost didn't understand that Yang Kai was definitely not Feng Zai's opponent, and he would die if he went up. To be continued. This text is provided by the Breaking Dawn Update group at AC ± a degree a diaresis T. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2428 Singled Out. Phone reading. Ziyu nodded when she heard that. Patriarch, I'm not afraid of him. He's just an embroidered pillow, not very capable. Bing Yun hadn't answered yet, but Yang Kai laughed and said, Junior sister use kindness, I appreciate it, since he is an embroidered pillow, then I don't need to be afraid of him. Let's see senior brother, I beat him in the past and his old lady recognized him. Don't come out. Ziyu heard that what he said was interesting, and couldn't help but chuckle. Bing Yun said, don't underestimate the enemy, I know a little bit about your ability, Feng Shi can't be your opponent. But I remember that when Feng Zan was promoted to the 3rd level of Emperor Zun, he once condensed a diamond like me. Diju pill, if this Diju pill is in Feng Zai's hands, you must make a quick decision and don't give him the slightest chance. When Yang Kai heard this, he couldn't help frowning. He is not afraid of Feng Zai's great ability, but he has to guard against the Wei pill. He has used the Emperor Ju pill twice by himself, and each time it is extremely powerful. If Feng Shi sacrificed the Diju pill, he would definitely not be an opponent. Thinking of this, Yang Kai nodded and said, I remember. But you don't have to worry too much, if he really uses the Emperor Ju pill, I will take action. Bing Yun said again. Yang Kai smiled and said, with Senior Bing Yun here, I can rest assured. Go ahead, if you make them wait for a long time, maybe you will slander something again. Bing Yun said, leading the crowd towards the center of Binglan City. The movement here has already alarmed the warriors in the entire Binglan City. Although many people don't understand the whole story, everyone knows at this moment that Feng Shi, the young lord of Wenqing sect, is going to compete with an unknown young warrior in the arena. The last showdown. The warriors of the entire Ice Wheel City almost rushed towards the arena, and when Yang Kai and Bing Yun arrived at the arena, they saw that the world was underground and the inner and outer 3 floors were surrounded by airtight. This arena looks magnificent, as if it was specially set up by the city lord of Binglan City to resolve grievances for the warriors. Above the arena, there are dozens of floors of restrictions, so the warriors inside can let go of their hands and feet, and basically don't worry about destroying the arena. The area of the arena is also extremely wide, with a radius of 100 feet in an oval shape, and there are layers of high platforms around it, which is convenient for people to watch the battle. At this moment, the seats on the high platform are naturally full, and people are constantly coming here from all directions to watch the battle. Feng Shi had already stood in the middle of the ring, with a faint sneer on the corner of his mouth. His face was unpredictable and arrogant. After seeing Yang Kai's figure, he also stretched out his hand to gesture to Yang Kai, and then slowly slid on his neck, with an expression of wanting to kill Yang Kai and then quickly. Be careful, Bing Yun warned Yang Kai again. Yang Kai nodded slightly, and with a flash of his figure, he rushed directly onto the ring, 10 feet away from Feng Shi, looking across the air. There was a commotion all around, and many people looked at Yang Kai curiously, pointing at him, not knowing where he came from, and dared to compete with the young master Wenqing sect on this ring meet. Some people with good deeds spread the word about what happened at the inn before. When it was learned that Yang Kai had actually robbed 100,000 middle-grade source crystals from the sect master of Wenqing sect, and even snatched 2 space rings from the deputy sect master and the young sect master the night before, the crowd immediately boiled. Most of the warriors living in Binglan City still have their hearts towards Bingxin Valley, so naturally they don't like to see Wen Qingzong, so when they heard that Wen Qingzong, young and old, suffered such a big loss at Yang Kai's hands, they all emotions lifted. The noises and discussions from all around gathered like a tide and reached Feng Zai's ears, making his face extremely ugly, and his emotions inevitably fluctuated. On the stands, Feng Zan, who was watching quietly, seemed to have noticed this, and said coldly, "Zaire, if you can't beat this kid to ashes today, you will no longer be the young sect master of this sect. If you can do it at this point, I promise you can marry Miss Ziyu away." Hearing this, Feng Shi regained his energy immediately, his face flushed with excitement, and he proudly said, "Don't worry, my lord father, the child will definitely live up to expectations. Use this kid's blood and spirit to wash away the shame of this sect, and let him know that he should not offend. The fate of those who offend. Very good, let go and do it, don't hold back." Feng Zan nodded in satisfaction. On the ring, Feng Shi looked at Yang Kai coldly with a gloomy look and said, "Boy, you have heard my father's words, if you don't want to suffer for nothing, just kneel down and apologize now, I can give you a good time, if not." Before he finished speaking, Yang Kai who was not far away suddenly flickered and disappeared in place. Feng Shi was shocked, and quickly urged his divine sense to search around, but to his surprise, there was no trace of Yang Kai's aura emerging from the surrounding area. See clearly how Yang Kai disappeared. Just when he was suspicious, an instinctive sense of crisis grew in his heart. Without even thinking about it, he gave a loud shout, and amidst the surge of source power, an oval-shaped light curtain suddenly appeared on the surface of his body, like a protective shield cover him completely. This is undoubtedly a very high-grade defensive secret treasure, and the defense has no dead ends and is airtight. He had just activated the power of the defensive secret treasure in his body, and Yang Kai appeared in front of him like a ghost, with a mocking expression on his face, and punched him. With this punch, the wind and clouds surged, and the sky and the earth shook. Feng Shi changed color in shock. With a bang, the entire arena seemed to shake. Feng Shi only felt a big mountain hit him head-on, and the unimaginable force imprinted on his chest, which made his blood churn in an instant. The pain in his chest was unbearable, and he fell backwards involuntarily. The protective light curtain that defended the secret treasure was also dented suddenly under this punch, and there was a crackling sound. Feng Zai's face changed abruptly, and he quickly looked up, only to see a crack appearing in his source-level high-grade protective secret treasure, which was 1 foot long. His face turned pale all of a sudden, and the shock in his heart could not be added. This is a Daoyuan level top-rank defensive secret treasure. Once its power is activated, even if you stand still and let warriors of the same level attack, you will not be able to break through the defense within 10 breaths. But what's going on with this kid? He just punched his secret treasure with a crack. If it hits another punch, wouldn't it be ruined? On the stands, Feng Xuanwo got up abruptly, staring at his eyes, his expression changed drastically. He is a strong Emperor Senior 3-layer, and Yang Kai felt something was wrong as soon as Yang Kai made a move. This kid seems to be not an ordinary Dao origin realm, and his son is absolutely impossible to be his opponent. So fast, so strong, is this kid still human? Hu Yuan also exclaimed. Young sect master was punched flying. What is the origin of this person? You say, he must not really belong to sect master Bingyan. You are looking for death. Master Feng Zan can say this, and you dare to say it. A group of Emperor Prestige realm are all knowledgeable. Although it was just a confrontation, in the eyes of everyone, Feng Shi is no longer an opponent. No matter in terms of momentum or strength, Yang Kai has completely suppressed Feng Shi, and winning is only a matter of time. Bing Xinggu and the others were also surprised at the moment. They were sweating for Yang Kai. They didn't know what would happen if Yang Kai went up, but looking at it now, they don't need to worry at all. This kind of strength is not as good as Ziyu. I just don't know if he can only explode this time, or if he has more energy. The girls quietly turned their heads to glance at Bing Yun, and found that she looked indifferent, and she didn't mean to worry about Yang Kai at all, so they realized that they had thought too much before. Sun Yunsho remembered that she had proposed Ziyu to replace Yang Kai before, and her cheeks felt hot. You dare to chatter in the battle of life and death, let me blow your mouth. On the ring, Yang Kai made a move without entanglement, and followed closely behind Feng Shi. Above his fist, colorful lights bloomed, the 5 elements immortal sword Qi came out leisurely, hesitating on his fist. Not sure if Feng Shi has the Emperor Ju pill in his hand, Yang Kai doesn't care about hiding his strength at the moment, he just wants to kill Feng Shi as soon as possible, so he has no intention of keeping his hand at all. The immortal 5 elements sword lingered on the front of the fist, the 5 elements interacted with each other, unpredictable, and Yang Kai smashed it down again. With his current strength, against warriors of the same level, he doesn't even need to sacrifice secret treasures. Feng Zai's figure was unstable, he watched Yang Kai's punch and felt the terrifying power contained in it, his face suddenly turned pale. He had already felt the terror of Yang Kai with the previous punch, and his own defensive secret treasure was smashed into a gap. If this punch hits again, the secret treasure will definitely be destroyed, and he will be seriously injured if he does not die. He wanted to use his trump card, but found that his chest was churning with energy and blood, and he couldn't raise his strength. In horror, he quickly shouted, "My Lord Father, save me." It took only 10 breaths of time before and after, and he no longer had the confidence that he had the chance to win. He looked like a lost dog asking for help from his master. Above the stands, Feng Zan should have noticed something was wrong, and when Feng Shi had just yelled that word, he had already made a move, stretched out his hand far away, and grabbed Yang Kai. No matter what, he couldn't let his son be killed by Yang Kai in front of so many people. Bing Yun sneered. Feng Zan, I haven't seen you for 3,000 years, and you are still so thick-skinned. You are ashamed to intervene in the struggles of the younger generation. When she spoke, she lightly slapped her palm and moved towards Feng Xuanian. Bing Yun, you really want to make an enemy of this seat. Feng Zan was furious, but had to withdraw his hands to defend. Bing Yun is comparable to him in strength, if he doesn't guard against it, he will definitely be injured, if he is injured, there will be troubles for the emotional sect. The two fought a move in the air, and the aftermath hit like a gust of wind and waves, making countless people tremble, and even those with low strength fainted directly. To be continued. Chapter 2429 Sea of AA Broken Stars opens. Above the arena, Yang Kai was as powerful as a tiger, his aura was like a rainbow, and the power of his 2 punches had already destroyed Feng Shi's defensive secret treasure. On the other hand, Feng Shi was staggering and spitting out blood from his mouth, in a panic. When his figure was not stable, Yang Kai rushed to catch up and threw his 3rd punch again. Feng Zai's eyes widened sharply, he only felt a breath of death rushing towards him, and his face suddenly turned pale. He realized that he had underestimated Yang Kai's strength too much. The other party's attack was endless, and he had no power to fight back. If he had known this, he would have sacrificed his trump card from the beginning. It is impossible to have a gap in strength, even if there is a gap, it is still suppressing the opponent. Yang Kai cannot be his opponent, but now it seems that he is too naive. Watching the fist hit, Feng Shi held his breath, his pupils shrinking to the size of a needle point. At this moment, a sudden change occurred. Yang Kai, who was attacking menacingly, suddenly changed his face, as if he had encountered some kind of sneak attack. The attacking fist was suddenly retracted, and then his figure was straightened, and he retreated, and then looked at the back of his hand with a solemn expression. The breath of death dissipated all of a sudden, but Feng Shi let out a scream, and shifted his gaze to his arm. The next moment, he understood what happened, and his face was ecstatic. On the other side, Yang Kai's eyes widened, and his eyes fixed on the back of his hand. When he was about to kill Feng Shi earlier, he suddenly felt a hot feeling on the back of his hand. He thought he was being ambushed by someone, so he didn't care about killing Feng Shi, and quickly backed away, wanting to save his life. The person who can attack him without him noticing is definitely a strong emperor. What surprised him was that Bing Yun didn't seem to notice either. But after stepping back to investigate, Yang Kai found that things were not what he thought. The back of his hand was still extremely hot, but there were no signs of being attacked, and it was getting hotter and hotter, as if he had put his hand into the depths of the magma same. Just when he was suspicious and didn't know what happened, Feng Shi suddenly yelled out on the opposite side of the ring, appearing in unbearable pain. Yang Kai raised his eyes and saw Feng Shi covering his arm with one hand, gritted his teeth and growled. Not only was he like this, but there were also screams of shock from the surrounding stands. What happened? Yang Kai's expression was dignified, with a dazed look on his face. He glanced in the direction of the people in Bingxin Valley, and found that Ziyu had also stretched out his hand to cover his arm, and his forehead was dripping with sweat. But Yang Kai keenly discovered a problem, that is, the people who had the situation were all young people, not many in number, only about a dozen. There were men and women, and they were all Dao Origin Realm warriors. Such a change happened in the arena and stands, which also surprised those Emperor Senior Realm. I don't know what happened to these rising stars. Bing Yun didn't have any intention of entanglement with Feng Zan, and quickly looked at Yang Kai with concern. And Ruian, Sun Yunshou and others even gathered around Ziyu, asking about the situation. Before they could find out what was going on, a little bit of starlight suddenly escaped from the hands and arms of the dozen or so young people who had the situation, like countless fireflies gathering, slowly flying upwards, looking beautiful. This is... Bing Yun's beautiful eyes narrowed, as if she suddenly understood something. The strong men from the various sects of the Northern Territory were also trembling with excitement, pointing at the stars and trembling with their lips. The burning sensation on the back of the hand suddenly disappeared at a certain moment, and when Yang Kai looked again, he found a pentagonal mark on the back of the hand. A flash of inspiration flashed in his mind, and he whispered, "Star seal." The imprint of the five-pointed star is obviously the star imprint of the fragmented star sea, and it is the spoils he got from the land of 4 seasons. At the beginning, he replaced a place in Qingyang Temple to enter the land of 4 seasons, and obtained 7 star seals in total, and later gave 6 to Qingyang Temple, and left a 5-pointed star seal for himself. After such a long time, this star seal has been silent, and Yang Kai almost forgot about it. But he didn't want a vision to suddenly appear at the critical moment of his life and death battle with Feng Shi. The star seal is the certificate to enter the Broken Star Sea. Only those who carry the star seal are eligible to enter the Broken Star Sea, and the Broken Star Sea is rumored to be the place where the most powerful star in the star world fell. It is said that the inheritance of the Heaven Devourer Great Emperor is hidden there, making countless strong people flock to it. It's a pity that every time the fragmented star sea is opened, the Emperor Senior Realm powerhouses are not allowed to enter, and only warriors below the Emperor Senior Realm can enter it. The Great Heaven Devourer has been fallen for tens of thousands of years. In the past tens of thousands of years, countless sects in the 4 regions of the Star Realm have sent countless elite disciples into the Sea of Broken Stars, hoping to find the inheritance of the Great Heaven Devourer and figure out that he was able to dominate the world back then. The astral world is a mystery that is invincible all over the world, but no one has succeeded. The secret of the heaven-devouring Great Emperor seems to have been buried somewhere in the Sea of Broken Stars following his fall. If it is just this temptation, it may not be so tempting to so many warriors. After all, there is only one Heaven Devourer, and there is only one inheritance. How can it be so easy to find? The key point is that in the Sea of Broken Stars, there are still countless remnants of the origin of the stars. As long as any warrior can obtain those origins of the stars, he can better comprehend the laws of heaven and earth, and can be promoted to the Emperor Realm faster. Some people have said that in the Emperor Senior Realm of the Star Realm, 7 out of 10 people have entered the Sea of Broken Stars. It can be seen how much this secret realm has greatly improved warriors. Entering the Sea of Broken Stars is equivalent to stepping half a foot into the gate of the Emperor Senior Realm for Daoyuan Realm warriors. This kind of temptation is something that no warrior can resist. There are also many Emperor Senior Realm powerhouses who have been working hard to find the entrance of the Sea of Broken Stars, hoping to get a glimpse into it. But when the Emperors encircled and suppressed the Heaven Devourer, the sky and the earth collapsed, the universe shook, and the universe was turned upside down. The Sea of Broken Stars formed has been hidden in a certain gap in space, making it impossible for those strong to enter. In that battle, Emperor Tianju fell, but before he died, he also dragged several emperors to be buried with him. In other words, not only may there be the mantle of Emperor Tianju in the Sea of Broken Stars, but there may also be the inheritance of other great emperors. Even if you can't find the inheritance of these great emperors, it's good to find the secret treasures and space rings that were discarded during the war. As long as you can find one, that warrior will no longer have to worry about cultivation resources from now on. For various reasons, the attention of Broken Star Sea in the Star Realm far exceeds that of any other secret realm, and it is a grand event that elite fighters from the 4 major domains of the Star Realm will participate in. Compared with it, the Land of 4 Seasons is simply weak. At this time, the star seal suddenly emitted a little bit of starlight, and Yongkai immediately understood what was going on. The Sea of Broken Stars has opened. There was a sudden exclamation from the stands, and many emperors stood up in unison, with excited expressions. Yongkai gritted his teeth and glared at Feng Shi, who was standing not far away, and sneered, "You are lucky." If it wasn't for Xingyun's sudden movement, Feng Shi must have been severely injured by him at this moment. I don't know if this guy should die or if he was lucky enough to escape at such a critical moment. Star Seal has already reacted, and Yongkai didn't dare to act rashly, lest something goes wrong and the loss outweighs the gain if he can't enter the Broken Star Sea. Feng Shi also has a Star Seal, so it is obvious that he will also enter the Sea of Broken Stars. On this arena, he could only abolish Feng Shi, but he could not kill him, so as not to trigger a battle between Bingxin Valley and Wenqing sect. But if he entered the Sea of Broken Stars, he could completely avoid future troubles, so he didn't intend to trouble Feng Shi at this moment but just stood there quietly. Hearing his words, Feng Shi opened his mouth to refute something, but when he met Yongkai's cold eyes, he couldn't help shrinking his head and swallowed the words on his lips. In the short few moments of fighting with Yongkai before, he was suppressed without a chance to breathe, and a shadow had been cast in his heart. How could he dare to provoke him at this time? On the stage, Yongkai turned his eyes and saw that there were more than a dozen people in the stands, like him, with starlight on their arms, and most of these dozens of people had Emperor Senior Stage standing beside them, teaching them earnestly. Undoubtedly, they came here to congratulate with these emperors, and they are all rising stars of the major sects in the Northern Territory. Ziyu was also among them, and Ruian, Sun Yunsho and others surrounded her. Sun Yunsho was telling her something very fast. Ziyu kept nodding, and looked at Yongkai from time to time. Looking at each other, Yongkai nodded slightly. Ziyu is undoubtedly a person who has a star seal, so he will naturally go to the Sea of Broken Stars like him, and if they meet there, they can cooperate. Yongkai doesn't know much about Broken Star Sea. Although he can be regarded as a registered disciple of Qingyang Temple, and even has the most advanced Qingyang gold token, he has never received those who have too many emperors in Qingyang Temple. He taught, and he didn't deliberately ask Wen Zishan and Gao Shueting about the Broken Star Sea. In this regard, he is not as good as those disciples who came from the big sect. After entering the Sea of Broken Stars, if you meet someone you know well, you can ask for information a little bit, or explore slowly by yourself. Speaking of which, he knows a lot of people. He knows most of the elite disciples of Qingyang Temple, as well as those rising stars in the southern region. Basically, they have dealt with each other in the Land of 4 Seasons. Those who entered the Sea of Broken Stars. Just as Yongkai was meditating, Bing Yun's sound transmission suddenly came from his ear. Xinghai is a great opportunity, life-saving is the most important thing, and coming back alive is victory. Yongkai nodded seriously. Bing Yun obviously wanted to tell him something more, but he had no chance. The next moment, the dots of starlight escaping from the backs of everyone's hands suddenly became more intense, and gathered at the top of everyone's heads. In the blink of an eye, those starlights directly converged into a starlight gate. To be continued. This text is provided by the Dawn Update group at Ahixi. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2430 Ask Love One Finger. Looking around, it seems that there is a star field that has shrunk countless times above everyone's head, which looks extremely mysterious. An unpredictable aura came out from the starlight gate one after another. Feeling this aura, everyone was shocked. Immediately, the starlight gate suddenly enveloped the dozen or so people present. The dazzling light bloomed, and everyone couldn't open their eyes. When the light dissipated, the dozen or so people who were originally shrouded in starlight all disappeared. Such a scene also happened at this moment in various parts of the Star Realm. In the 4 great domains, tens of thousands of Daoyuan realm warriors entered the Sea of Fragmented Stars. In Binglan City, on the stands, Feng Zan gave Bingyun a cold look, stood up and left in a hurry. Before leaving, there was no nonsense. It is meaningless to say anything at this moment. The young people have already entered the Sea of Broken Stars, and the marriage between Wenqingzong and Bingxingyu can only be discussed after Fengxi and Ziyu return safely. As long as one person falls inside, the marriage must be give up. Undoubtedly, Bing Yun did not intend to stop her, although she was not afraid of Feng Zan, but with their level of strength and identity, every word and action had nothing to do with it. In the cold and empty void, the broken stars are dilapidated and depressed, without any spiritual energy. The storm in the starry sky is destructive, roaring in and out, and the wide sea of AA meteorites is like a never-ending river, lying between the sky and the earth. Everything around is quiet, as if the world has not been divided, the world has not yet opened, and everything is still in the beginning of chaos. Suddenly, somewhere in the void, light shone out, and after the light dissipated, Yang Kai appeared strangely. He was surrounded by the starlight on the ring before, and immediately felt a wave of space power lingering around him. This feeling was very familiar to him, and he knew it was a sign of long-distance transmission. It seems that the reason why the star seal will become the certificate to enter the broken star sea is because it is the meeting point for this kind of long-distance transmission. Without the star seal, it is impossible to teleport to the broken star sea. The first time he appeared, he looked up. All the scenes printed in his eyes made him stunned, and a look of memory appeared in his eyes. Because everything he saw was so familiar, he had the illusion that he had returned to the Heng Luo star field. When he was in the constant Luo starfield, he also traveled to many cultivation stars, shuttled back and forth in the starfield many times, and often saw the scene in front of him. The only difference is that the scene in front of me seems to be more bleak and lifeless than some places in the Heng Luo starfield. All I can see is a broken place. Yang Kai even saw a broken cultivation star. This cultivation star is at least a month away from his current position, no smaller than his dark star, but the left half of this cultivation star was shattered by the inexplicable violent force. It's the next half. There are still many broken stars like this around. Yang Kai's head shook wildly. He didn't know how powerful it would be to do such a thing, but the person who did it was definitely an emperor-level powerhouse. Back then, the battlefield where many great emperors besieged and suppressed the Heaven Devourer, could it be a star field? Yang Kai suddenly had such an idea in his head, otherwise, why would there be broken cultivation stars in this sea of AA broken stars? If this is the case, then the battle will definitely be a disaster for this star field. Perhaps it was precisely because of that battle that this star field was so depressed that it was swallowed by the cracks in space and could only be opened at special times. Thinking of this, Yang Kai's face sank like water. It was hard for him to imagine what would have happened if that battle had happened in the constant Luo starfield. If this is the case, the scene in front of you is the future of the Heng Luo starfield. There is no Tongshuan continent, no Shuiyu star, and no gloomy star. There are only broken stars and dilapidated battlefields, which can never be revived. Just as he was contemplating, a strange power fluctuation suddenly came from not far behind. Yang Kai turned his head and looked around, only to see a person suddenly appearing about 100 feet away from him, looking around blankly like him. After seeing this person's face clearly, Yang Kai grinned loudly. "Young sect master, we are really destined." I don't know if it's because they were standing together on the ring when the sea of AA broken stars opened. Feng Shi unexpectedly appeared near him at this moment, but the other up-and-comers from the northern territory were nowhere to be seen, and I don't know where they were teleported. Previously, his attack fell short because of the abnormality of the star seal. Seeing you now, Yang Kai is naturally overjoyed. When he spoke, Yang Kai had already rushed towards Feng Shi. This is Sea of AA broken stars, there are not so many spectators. Without Feng Zan and Yao Zhou, even if Feng Shi is killed here, no one else will know, let alone worry about the battle between Bingxin Valley and Wenqing sect. Such a good opportunity, how could Yang Kai miss it? So this shot, Yang Kai has already done his best, and he is only going to kill Feng Shi with one blow. Feng Shi also came back to his senses at this moment. Seeing Yang Kai rushing towards him like a rainbow, he didn't show any signs of panic, nor did he intend to evade the defense, but stood there and looked at Yang Kai coldly, sneering said, "If there is a way to heaven, if you don't go, there is no way to hell, but come and vote. Go to death." After saying that, he raised his hand, and he threw a bead over viciously. The terrifying power suddenly spread, and the thick power of the emperor swept all around at once, shaking the starry sky. Di Ju Pill. Yang Kai's face changed drastically, and he cried out in shock. Although Bing Yun had reminded him before, he had always been wary of Feng Shi having the Emperor Ju Pill in his hands, but before Feng Shi sacrificed this thing, Yang Kai couldn't be sure whether he had it or not. But now the facts are in front of him, and Yang Kai can't help but doubt anything. Feng Shi really has the Emperor Ju Pill. I don't know if he was afraid of being beaten by himself in the ring just now, so when we met again this time, he sacrificed the Emperor Ju-pil decisively. How could Yang Kai dare to challenge the Emperor Ju-pil condensed by the Emperor's senior three-layer powerhouse? After realizing that the situation was not good, he turned around quickly, and under the ups and downs of the law of space, his figure had already retreated several hundred feet in a jerk. Boom-a-a! The heart-shocking throbbing enveloped, and in the empty void, Feng Zan's phantom suddenly appeared, huge and unmatched, with his head reaching the sky, his feet stomping on the ground. He looked blankly at Yang Kai, and then slowly nodded at him. Point out. A low voice resounded within a radius of 100 miles, one finger for love. As soon as the crooning sound fell, Yang Kai felt a death aura chasing after him. Shocked, he shouted loudly, "Dragon transformation!" Pieces of dragon scales suddenly covered the whole body, and Yang Kai's hands suddenly turned into dragon claws. Not only that, Yang Kai also activated the Immortal 5 Elements Sword Chi, which gathered on his back for protection. Since the ants must die, why bother to struggle, ha 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 ha. Feng Shi stood proudly in the void, looking at Yang Kai's fleeing figure. He couldn't help laughing triumphantly. Even though he sacrificed an Emperor Absolute Pill, lost a trump card, and almost drained all the energy in his body, as long as he can kill Yang Kai, everything is worth it. Yang Kai dared to snatch a woman from him, and let him lose so much face in the arena of Binglan City. He had already killed Yang Henji to the bone, and he was about to kill him quickly. This guy is gone. This is a godsend opportunity. How could Feng Shi miss it? He didn't believe that Yang Kai, a Dao origin 3-layer, could save his life under his father's Emperor Ju-pil. Yang Kai had just performed the 2 secret techniques of Dragon Transformation and Immortal 5 Elements Sword Chi. When he was hit by a huge force on his back, he just felt his head was stunned, as if his back was about to be torn apart. The pain was unbearable, and all the bones in his body. There was a crackling sound, a sweetness in the throat, and blood mist spewed out when he opened his mouth. He didn't bother to check his injuries at all, and used the power of space to teleport forward again. Life and death are only between this line. At this moment the formidable power of Emperor Ju-pil has not fully erupted, and it has given him such a great pressure. If it erupts completely, Yang Kai guesses that even if he is proficient in the power of space, he will never want to escape. The thick Emperor prestige followed behind him, constantly covering all around, sealing off the space. Yang Kai knew that once he was enveloped, it would be really difficult to fly. Rumbling, the violent and continuous sound from behind continued to spread into the ears, and the power of the finger that broke out from the Emperor Ju-pil still followed like a shadow of tarsal maggots. Yang Kai bit the tip of his tongue, crazily burning his own blood. The speed suddenly increased a lot, and it was thousands of feet in the blink of an eye. Another muffled sound came out, and it seemed that the power of the Dewey pill had not erupted completely until now. In the direction of Yang Kai's escape, a huge black hole suddenly appeared. Inside the black hole, there was nothingness and chaos, which made people feel uneasy. Feng Zan's phantom still stands in the void, watching the direction of Yang Kai's escape from afar, and after a long time, this phantom gradually dissipates. Ha 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 ha, there's not even scum left in this death. You're still a little tender to fight with this young master. Feng Shi thought that Yang Kai would definitely die, so he couldn't help laughing loudly. This laugh, aroused due to his own weakness, he couldn't help coughing violently. After finally calming down, Feng Shi stared bitterly at the direction of the black hole, then turned around and drove towards the other side. In order to sacrifice the Emperor Ju-pil, his source power was almost drained with a bang, and he had to find a place to recover quickly at this moment, otherwise he would be powerless to fight back if he encountered any danger here. Sea of AA Broken Stars is not a safe place. In this ghostly place, in order to find the inheritance of the Heaven Devourer Great Emperor, anyone is an enemy, and they can fight without asking why they meet. On the other side, Yang Kai, who Feng Shi believed was certain to die, dragged his heavily injured body and finally rushed into the meteorite sea. At this time, Yang Kai's eyes were blurred, and it seemed that he might pass out at any time. Since practicing, he feels that he has never suffered such a serious injury. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2431. The years are dry and prosperous, like a shuttle, like a dream. Just being wiped by the power of the Emperor Ju-pil, Yang Kai felt his back was torn, and the 5 internal organs in his body were displaced. No need to use his spiritual sense to check. Yang Kai knew that his back must be fresh at this moment. Bloody, gory. If it wasn't for his proficiency in the power of space and his decisiveness in running, I'm afraid there would be no scum left at this moment. Panting heavily, his face pale as paper, he tried his best to shuttle through the sea of meteorites for a while, and found a larger meteorite to hide in it, then sacrificed the mysterious boundary orb, and with a flick of his body, he got into the mysterious small boundary. This sea of meteorites is in a state of movement. Under the inexplicable force, it sails in one direction to the depths of this boundless star field. I don't know where it is going, but at this moment Yang Kai doesn't care too much, he can only heal his wounds first. Important. Near the medicine garden, Yang Kai sat cross-legged, grabbed a handful of healing elixir from the space ring, stuffed it into the entrance, and then silently practiced Zongong to dissolve the medicine's effect, and at the same time gathered the life breath of the tree of immortality for his own use. This time Feng Shi was seriously injured, but Yang Kai didn't worry too much, his physique is extremely strong, not to mention there is an immortal tree planted in the medicine garden, as long as he doesn't die on the spot, one day he will fully recover. However, in order to escape from the enveloping power of the Emperor Ju pill, Yang Kai burned a lot of blood at once, making his body extremely weak, and it took a long time to recuperate. In the sea of broken stars, there was a turbulent wind and clouds, and tens of thousands of Star Realm elites poured into this place, looking for opportunities, pursuing higher heaven and martial arts, hoping to be promoted to Emperor Zun here. In the sea of meteorites, Yang Kai could not retreat, focusing on healing. A month passed in a flash of time, and after a month, Yang Kai slowly opened his eyes, exhaled lightly, and a complex look flashed in his eyes. He didn't expect that it took him such a long time to heal his injuries, which had never happened before. It is worthy of being the Emperor Ju pill condensed by a strong person in the third level of Emperor Senior Realm. While the power of the one finger pointing at him caused trauma to him, some strange power also penetrated into his body. It was precisely to get rid of this force that Yang Kai spent a month. If not for this, with his physique and the efficacy of the Tree of Immortality, he could recover completely in a few days. The injury has healed without leaving any sequelae, and his physical strength has also returned to its peak state. Yang Kai was not in a hurry to leave the mysterious boundary orb, he first scanned it with his spiritual mind, checked the outside situation, and found that the surroundings were quiet and there was no one. After confirming that it was safe, he stretched out his hand to flip it over, and the next moment, 4 round beads of different colors appeared on the palm of his hand. These 4 beads are exactly the 4 beads of spring, summer, autumn and winter, which are left over from Emperor Sui Yu. A long time ago, Yang Kai had speculated that there would be unexpected gains if he gathered the 4 pearls of spring, summer, autumn and winter, but it was a pity that the only winter pearl had never been seen, but he didn't want to gain something in Bingxin Valley this time. Feng Shi's Emperor Ju pill made him aware of some dangers. With his current strength, he really doesn't need to be afraid of warriors of the same level, but he has to guard against the trump cards possessed by these warriors. Feng Shi has an Emperor Ju pill, who can be sure that the next enemy he encounters will not be there. Even if there is no Emperor Ju pill, or no other cards. After all, the warriors who can come to the Broken Star Sea are all the elites of the Star Realm, and many of them are the descendants of those powerful emperors and the elite disciples of the top sects. Many of these people cannot be underestimated, and underestimating them may cost their lives. So Yang Kai is eager to improve his strength. He is now at the 3rd level of Daoyuan, and if he is promoted, he will be at the Emperor level. But Emperor Senior Realm is so easy to promote, the opportunity did not come. Yang Kai didn't know when he would be able to see the mystery of Emperor Senior. Since it is impossible to break through the realm, it can only start from the secret technique. The 4 pearls of spring, summer, autumn and winter are undoubtedly the best choice. If you understand them thoroughly, you may be able to get the inheritance of Emperor Suiyu. Emperor Suiyu was proficient in the power of time, and he was also a top powerhouse in the era when he survived. If he can get his inheritance, it will definitely be of great help to the improvement of strength. So Yang Kai didn't hesitate too much, and after taking out the 4 seasons pearl, he began to comprehend it, hoping to gain something. It's strange to say that in the forbidden area of Bingxin Valley, when the winter pearl met the summer pearl, there was some resonance between the two, but when these 4 beads were gathered together, they didn't react at all. There is none left. Yang Kai didn't know how to stimulate the power of the 4 seasons beads, so he could only put them together in the palm of his hand, run the mysterious art, and feel quietly. He was not too impatient, but calm in his mind. Gradually, his whole body entered an ethereal state, with nothing in his mind. his body and mind relaxed, as if he was in a cloud, and his mind was floating. He completely forgot where this place was, forgot what he was here for, and was completely immersed in this inextricable feeling. Half a month has passed, a month has passed, 2 months have passed. The Four Seasons Pearl still didn't respond, but Yang Kai was frantically absorbing the aura of heaven and earth and mysterious Shaoji, making his own source power more vigorous and pure, and the realm of Daoyuan third layer realm was steadily rising, and it was faintly about to reach the first level, a pinnacle state. One day 3 months later, Yang Kai's mind suddenly shook, a shock from the depths of his heart startled him, and then, a scorching feeling permeated from the palm of his hand. He opened his eyes suddenly, and saw the glow of color suddenly escaped from the palm of his hand, and slowly danced like a ribbon, enveloping his whole body. Among the 4 color rays of light, each of them has a very special artistic conception and the power of laws. The 4 laws echo each other and complement each other. The power of the 4 seasons. Yang Kai's head jumped, and he realized that he had unintentionally stimulated the power of the 4 seasons bead, and felt again, the 4 seasons bead that was originally held in his palm had disappeared at this moment, leaving only the 4-color glow flying around at the side. Yang Kai immediately understood that this was his chance. He didn't dare to neglect. Once again he closed his eyes, immersed himself in it, and tried his best to realize it. Different from the ethereal meditative state of the previous few months, this time he realized with a purpose. As soon as he let go of his mind, he noticed the 4 very special laws of power beside him. The spring breeze is pleasant, the summer is hot, the autumn is bleak, and the winter is covered with snow. They seem to form a strange reincarnation. The power of the 4 seasons is constantly overlapping, and the changes of the changing years are endless and continuous. Yang Kai sank into it all of a sudden, forgetting the concept of time. His whole body seems to be a stranger exiled by time. The skin on his face is getting old gradually, and he can become an octogenarian in just 1 stick of incense. It seems odd to go back to the good old days of youth, all over again. The laws of the 4 seasons are surging, and even the environment around Yang Kai is constantly changing. The elixir planted in the medicine garden seemed to have experienced the reincarnation of the years in a very short period of time, growing crazily. Except for the immortal tree and the green tree, which were not affected by the power of the law, the other elixir the panaceas are all growing well. Yang Kai felt like he had a dream. In that strange dream, he kept wandering between the 2 life stages of youth and old, using his body to remember the feeling of the passing of time, using his body and mind to experience the concept of time flies. Gradually, some vague thoughts appeared in his mind. He wanted to see these thoughts clearly, but there seemed to be a film blocking him. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't penetrate the film. And every reincarnation of the body made his vague thoughts clearer. Finally, for a moment, this vague idea turned into a clear understanding. Yang Kai woke up from the sinking nightmare all of a sudden. His eyes were bright and his eyes were as bright as stars. The 4-color rays of light still lingered beside him, dancing continuously, like 4-colored ribbons. Yang Kai didn't move at all. His expression was extremely solemn. His hands quickly formed a mysterious imprint, and he whispered in his mouth, "The years are withering, and the shuttle is like a dream." His voice was slow, and his movements even slower. But when his words fell, a mysterious imprint just formed. The next moment, the 4-color glow that had been dancing around him seemed to have received some order, and suddenly turned into dots of fluorescent light, drilling towards the key points around him. Boom-a. With Yang Kai as the center, the invisible aura suddenly spread to the surroundings, and the momentum was astonishing. After everything was stable, Yang Kai revealed a strange color in his eyes, and said in surprise, "It's actually the power of the law of time. Emperor Suiyu, it really is amazing. The only thing in this world that can keep pace with the power of the law of space is the power of the law of time. No matter which kind of power of these 2 laws is, it is an extremely partial existence. It is difficult to get started, and it is even more difficult to cultivate. It is also a coincidence that Yang Kai is proficient in the power of space. He has practiced along the way, and he has met some warriors who have started in space power, but if he is proficient, besides himself, probably the only one is Li Wuyi that Mo Shaoqi once said. Li Wuyi is proficient in space power, which is well known in the entire star world, but he is a strong 3rd-layer emperor, basically no one dares to trouble him. There are still some people who can get started with the power of space, but Yang Kai has never met anyone who has cultivated the power of time. In this comparison, the law of time seems to be more difficult to grasp than the law of space. But Emperor Suiyu cultivated it to a very high level. Yang Kai originally thought that the power of the 4 seasons is the overlapping of the 4 seasons and the change of the years, but after this time, he realized that the power of the 4 seasons has been sublimated to the level of the law of time, and there is a very high level above it, attainments. And thanks to the blessing of Emperor Suiyu, after obtaining the power of the 4 seasons bead, Yang Kai can now be regarded as a beginner in the law of time. Throughout the ages, I don't know if he is the only one who can practice the laws of space and time at the same time. To be continued. This text is provided by the Breaking Dawn update group at AC ± a degree a diaresis T. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2432 Broken Origin. Phone reading. After silently comprehending what he had gained this time, Yang Kai slowly stood up. Lu Yan and Hua Qingxi are nearby. I don't know when they came here. They should be attracted by the noise he made here, but they are far away from each other and dare not approach. Seeing Yang Kai get up at this moment, the two women looked at each other and floated over. Master, what kind of secret art did you comprehend before? Why did your appearance and physical condition keep changing? Lu Yan asked nervously. The appearance has changed. Yang Kai raised his eyebrows and asked in surprise. He thought it was just a dream, but he didn't expect it to be true. No wonder I was able to comprehend the law of time, and condense the seal of the secret technique of Emperor Suiyu. It turned out that my body was constantly changing from old to young. I used the changes in my body to remember the passage of time, and I was able to comprehend the law of time also makes sense. Well, you look very pitiful when you are old. Hua Qingxi also nodded aside. Yang Kai smiled slightly, and didn't care about it. People always have birth, old age, sickness and death. This is a reincarnation. After realizing the law of time, Yang Kai saw it very openly. After pondering for a while, he said, that's the secret technique of Emperor Suiyu. When Lu Yan and Hua Qingxi heard the words, their eyes were full of brilliance, and Lu Yan said in surprise, Master, have you obtained the inheritance of Emperor Suiyu? Although Yang Kai also has the inheritance of the heaven-devouring great emperor, but that thing is not something that humans can cultivate, and the Emperor Suiyu is different. If he can really get his inheritance, there will be a smooth road in the future. Yang Kai shook his head and said, I also thought that the 4 seasons pearl hid the inheritance of Emperor Suiyu, but that's not the case, it was just a secret technique of Emperor Suiyu, but I really gained a lot. Being able to get started with the law of time, Yang Kai felt that it didn't matter if he didn't get the inheritance of Emperor Suiyu. As long as he perseveres in cultivation, he will one day reach the height of Emperor Suiyu, or even surpass it. But before that, he needs to cultivate the space law to the extreme level. He can't eat too much. Yang Kai understands this truth. How long has it been? Yang Kai suddenly asked again. He had been in the reincarnation of the years. I can't feel the passage of time at all, so I don't know how long it took me to practice this time. Almost a year, Hua Qingxi said. Since Yang Kai came in injured, Lu Yan and Hua Qingxi had already sensed it. Counting the time, it was almost exactly 1 year. 1 year. Yang Kai was taken aback. He thought that even if it took a little time, it would definitely not exceed 2 or 3 months, but he didn't want to spend a full year. In other words, the first year of the Sea of AA Broken Stars. Apart from healing, is he comprehending the mysteries of the 4 seasons pearl? Don't know if this is a waste of time. Yang Kai didn't even know how long the fragmented star sea would be open. If it could only be open for a year, wouldn't he have wasted this opportunity in vain? Thinking of this, Yang Kai's face turned dark, and an inexplicable sense of crisis emerged. I'll go out and see what's going on here, Yang Kai said, then turned around and rushed out of the mysterious boundary orb. A year passed like this, but he didn't reap any benefits. Yang Kai couldn't help feeling a little anxious. After leaving the mysterious boundary orb, Yang Kai returned to the huge meteorite. Looking around, I found that the surrounding scenery was the same as what I saw when I first came to Broken Star Sea, not much different. But Yang Kai can be sure that this is not the place where he just came, and it may have been far away by hundreds of millions of miles, because the meteorite sea has been moving forward at an extremely fast speed. God knows where it has taken itself. While his figure was shaking, Yang Kai flew out of the meteorite sea and sacrificed his own wooden boat. It is said that the Broken Star Sea is a great opportunity for Tao Origin Realm warriors, but Yang Kai doesn't know where this opportunity is, so he can only walk around and try his luck first. Work hard for several days in a row. He didn't encounter any situation, but encountered the starry sky storm several times. The starry sky storm in the sea of fragmented stars was so terrifying that even the void shattered wherever it swept. Looking at it, Yang's scalp felt numb, and he didn't dare to be involved in it. He also didn't meet any warriors. In this vast starry sky, it seems that he is the only living person. This made Yang Kai doubt whether the broken star sea had been closed, causing all the warriors who entered here to leave, but he stayed here. If so, that would be too bad. On this day, when Yang Kai was flying in the void, he suddenly felt a slight heat on the back of his hand. He raised his eyebrows and looked towards the back of his hand. That was the position imprinted by my 5-pointed star mark. At this moment, the 5-pointed star mark was emitting a faint gleam, and there was an extremely weak force coming from a certain direction, pulling my body 5-pointed star print. Yang Kai was puzzled, wondering what this star seal resonated with. After pondering for a moment, he changed direction and flew forward along the source of the power. No matter what is there is always some movement. It is better to go over and have a look than to run around like a headless chicken like myself. The starry sky is vast. Even if Yang Kai flew at full speed, he still flew for 2 hours. 2 hours later, a shattered cultivation star came into his eyes. This cultivation star was neither too big nor too small, and belonged to the mid-range one. It is like the broken star that Yang Kai first saw when he entered the sea of broken stars. More than half of it has been broken, and only a small half of the star remains in the void. Looking around, this dilapidated cultivation star is lifeless, and there is no green in the slightest. Even after tens of thousands of years, this cultivation star seems to still have the terrifying aura of the desperate battle of the great emperors, daunting. And the power that pulls his 5-pointed star seal comes from this broken star. Yang Kai was surprised. He didn't know what was so special about this broken star that it could resonate with his own star seal. He made the wooden boat, in the form of a rainbow, fall towards a certain place on the broken star. After a while, he came to the surface of the broken star, stood on the star and looked at it. All he could see was a messy landscape, with countless large and small potholes, and it was as dark as an abyss. After arriving here, the light from the 5-pointed star seal on the back of his hand became a little bit brighter, and Yang Kai immediately confirmed that he had found the right place. When the divine sense was released, Yang Kai sensed it, and soon, he raised his eyebrows, showing joy, and whispered, "The origin of the stars." He possesses the origin of the stars of the gloomy star, and is the star master of the gloomy star. He is most familiar with the breath of the origin of the stars. On this shattered star of cultivation, there are still some original powers of stars. It's just that I don't know if it's because the place is too damaged, so the origin of the stars is also broken and incomplete. The origin of the stars is a good thing for warriors in the star realm. Warriors with the origin of the stars can better understand the laws of heaven and earth through the power of the origin, making it easier to advance and break through. However, it is difficult for warriors in the star realm to obtain the origin of the stars, because the origin of the stars is something that can only be borne by the stars of cultivation. There are very few such treasures in the star realm, and even if there are, they are taken away by some powerful people. Ordinary warriors are rarely seen. And here is the source of the stars. Even though it is incomplete, even though it is very broken, it is the power of the source after all. It turns out that the legend is true. There are indeed many broken stars in this sea of broken stars. If Daoyuan warriors can absorb the power of these sources for their own use, it will be of great benefit to be promoted to Emperor Zun in the future. Could it be that the star seal has resonated with the power of the original source, so it leads here? Yang Kai secretly guessed, but no one confirmed it with him, and he didn't know if this guess was correct. If this is the case, then the star seal is a guiding light. As long as you search for it along the position sensed by the star seal, you will definitely be able to harvest the original power. Just when Yang Kai was guessing, he suddenly turned his head and looked towards the sky, and saw 2 dazzling rays of light descending from the sky in the sky, and after a while, they landed near him impartially. The brilliance dissipated, revealing 2 figures. Both of them are men, and they seem to be from the same sect, because their aura and clothes are a bit similar, and it is unknown how they got together in this sea of broken stars. Their cultivation bases are all at the Daoyuan 3rd layer level, and they are extremely solid and majestic. They don't look like ordinary Daoyuan realms, and they are most likely disciples from that great sect. Yang Kai noticed that the 2 men each had a 5-pointed star seal on the back of their hands, emitting a faint gleam. It seems that these two people, like themselves, were guided by Xingyan. Seeing these two people at first glance, Yang Kai was not surprised but happy. Because as long as there are still living people here, it means that I am not alone in the Broken Star Sea. It is just bad luck that I haven't met anyone these days. In an instant, Yang Kai looked at the two people with expressions full of excitement. The two of them didn't know what Yang Kai was excited about, but they both looked haughty and arrogant. They just glanced at Yang Kai and didn't put him in their eyes anymore, but let out their divine sense to investigate a little bit. Take a look at the situation around you. One of them frowned slightly and said, the original power here is so thin. Yeah, not as good as the one I met yesterday. Another person nodded in agreement. But something is better than nothing. If you gather sand to form a tower, if you accumulate less, you can't just let it go. The man glanced at Yang Kai and shouted, what are you looking at? Why don't you hurry up and get out? Quote. The other person also sneered, and said, the source of the stars here is ours, so if you know your face, just get out, or you won't be able to leave if you want to leave later. The two of you said something to each other. The meaning of the threat was extremely obvious, and Yang Kai's face was black when he heard it. To be continued. Chapter 2433. The original power of this place is so thin. Yang Kai is actually not too fancy. After all, he already has the complete original power of Gloom Star, but these two people yelled like this as soon as they came up. It was inevitable. Yang Kai was a little annoyed. After thinking for a while, he didn't have an attack, but clasped his fists together, and said, my two friends, I have some things I want to ask. I wonder if the two of you can answer it. The person who spoke first squinted at Yang Kai and snorted coldly, what's the matter? Yang Kai Dao, are you attracted here because of the star seal and the original power of this place? The man glanced at Yang Kai in surprise, and sneered, don't you? Yang Kai grinned and said, naturally. It turns out that the star seal can really sense the power of the stars. Although he had guessed before, but because no one confirmed it with him, he was not too sure. Now after listening to this person's answer, Yang Kai suddenly understood well. The star seal on the back of his hand is not only a certificate to enter the Sea of Broken Stars, it seems to have other magical functions in it. The man said angrily, since it is true, why bother to ask it knowingly? It is really baffling. Yang Kai smiled and said, just asking, what is my friend doing with such an air? It hurts my body. Does that friend know how long is the time limit from the opening to closing of the Broken Star Sea? As soon as these words came out, both of them looked at Yang Kai with weird expressions, as if they had noticed something. One of them said, it seems that you don't know anything about the situation here. Yang Kai looked sullen, cupped his fists and said, please advise. He really didn't know anything about Fragmented Star Sea, and there was nothing to hide about it. Although he could find some information by himself, it was still not as fast as finding out from others. Although these two people don't seem to be good at each other, it doesn't prevent Yang Kai from exploring information from them. The other person laughed loudly and said, senior brother, there is someone who came to Broken Star Sea without knowing anything. Didn't this guy have the guidance of the elders of the master? He looked very happy, as if he had heard some big joke. Yang Kai said with a cold face, what's the matter without the elders of the teacher? It's funny. The man withdrew his smile and said, it's not very funny, it's just that a person who has no elders in the sect can come here. It's really surprising. My friend hasn't answered my question yet. Yang Kai urged. What's the benefit of answering you? The other party snorted coldly. Yang Kai Dao, how about giving the origin of this place to two friends? After a pause, he continued, I came here first. As long as the two of you can answer my question, I will leave immediately, and the origin of this place is also free. The two charge, I will never interfere. The younger brother said angrily, who dares to snatch the original power that my two senior brothers are looking for, so why do you need to do this favor? But the brother waved his hand and said, since my friend is so talkative, then I will be disrespectful. The younger brother curled his lips when he heard the words, with a displeased look on his face. The senior continued, after the Fragmented Star Sea opens, no one can know the end time, and it is not fixed. According to ancient records, the duration of each Fragmented Star Sea's opening is at least 2 years, and the longest is 10 years. And there is no warning at the end. Once this secret realm is closed, all warriors here will be excluded, no matter where you are. Are you satisfied with this answer, my friend? It's not a fixed time. Yang Kai was a little surprised, but it wasn't the first time he encountered such a thing, so he soon calmed down. However, according to this person, the minimum time for star fragmentation C to open is 2 years. In other words, I still have at least 1 year to practice here, which is not bad. After being silent for a while, Yang Kai cupped his fists and said, "Thank you so much. Farewell." Although he still has a lot of things he doesn't understand, these two people are not easy to talk to. If they continue to ask, they may not be able to tell the truth. Instead of being misled, it is better to explore by themselves or wait until they meet acquaintances, inquire. While speaking, Yang Kai turned around and flew into the air. But at the moment when he turned around, the senior brother who had answered his question before suddenly revealed his eyes, and with a slight flick of his wrist, a jet of black light flew out in response, striking behind Yang Kai in a flash. Seeing that Yang Kai was about to be pierced by the black light, at the critical moment, he suddenly twisted his body, narrowly avoiding the sneak attack of the black light. The next moment, Yang Kai stood in midair, looked down coldly, and said indifferently, "What does this mean?" The senior brother was taken aback, and couldn't help but whispered, "It was hidden. How is it possible? He had no warning when he shot before, and he didn't show the slightest murderous intent before the shot." It is reasonable to say that Yang Kai could not have noticed it, but in fact, Yang Kai had the foresight, and he was attacking at the time of the body. Avoid for a moment. This person is not a soft persimmon. The senior brother thought to himself. His junior brother still looked like he didn't take Yang Kai into his eyes, and said with a sneer, "Don't you understand what it means? Why do you guys like to ask why you know what you know? You two want to kill me?" Yang Kai raised his brows and said sadly, "I met you two by accident, and we have no grudges in the past, and we have no enmity in the present. The two of you are interested in the origin of this place, and I offer it with both hands, without any intention of competing. I am so easy to talk, and the two of you secretly plan to kill me. You really make me sad. The most basic trust between people is gone." The brother's mouth twitched, and he said, "It's okay if you don't want to die, just keep your right hand and get out." The junior brother also nodded in agreement. "That's right, if you want to live, you can cut off your right hand. My senior brother and I will spare you, otherwise today will be your death day next year." Yang Kai frowned and said, "What do you two want my right hand for? Don't you have any hands yourself?" The junior sneered and said, "You think your right hand is very popular. What we want is not your right hand, but the star seal on the back of your hand. I've already entered the broken star sea, what's the point of you snatching my star seal?" Yang Kai still looked puzzled. "You really don't understand anything." The younger brother laughed loudly, "My two brothers and sisters will do it to the end today, and I will send you a message for free. In this sea of AA broken stars, it is common to rob other people's star seals. As for the reasons and benefits, you will understand later." The senior brother said with a sullen face, "My friend can avoid my blow, and it seems that he is very skilled, but do you think that no matter how powerful you are, you can beat my senior brothers working together? If you don't want to die, just cooperate obediently, otherwise after killing you, I can also take your star seal." Yang Kai touched his chin, and said lightly, "Your words really make people curious. What's the benefit of grabbing other people's star seals? Curiosity makes me want to kill the two of you." "Kill us?" The younger brother heard the words, his eyes widened, and then he laughed, pointing at Yang Kai and said to the other person, "Senior brother, did you hear what he just said? He actually said that he wanted to kill us. Is this kid still awake?" The senior brother snorted coldly. "Since this friend does not eat or drink fine wine when toasting, then you don't have to be polite with him, let's go together." When the words fell, the junior brother's laughter disappeared all of a sudden, and his face became sullen, and the two of them worked together to activate the source force and wanted to make a move. Yang Kai suddenly formed seals with his hands, and a strange and inexplicable force of law suddenly surged out, suddenly covering the two senior brothers. The two people who were about to make a move were inexplicably excited, and an instinctive sense of crisis grew in their hearts. They seemed to hear the call of death in their ears, and their clothes were instantly wet with sweat. They wanted to raise their heads to see what magical secret technique Yang Kai had used. What shocked the two of them was that their thinking stopped at this moment, and they couldn't even move their bodies. They all became extremely silent, and even the time stopped flowing, and everything was frozen at this moment. The deep murmur sounded in the ears of the two of them. It was so cold that it made people's hands and feet feel cold. The years are dry and prosperous, the shuttle is like a dream, and the years are like a shuttle. When the words fell, Yang Kai patted the two of them with a palm from a distance, and the mysterious seal burst out, and it was directly printed on them without waiting for the two senior brothers to react. Two muffled groans sounded at the same time, and the power of time crazily eroded into the bodies of the two brothers, making their vitality drain away in a very short period of time. Visible to the naked eye, the black hair of these two people turned gray at an extremely fast speed, and then fell off, and even their skin began to wrinkle. The old man was staggering and about to fall, unable to stand steadily. Hundreds of thousands of years seemed to run over them all at once, leaving only deep scars. The weirdest thing is that the two of them have always maintained that sluggish posture, seemingly unaware of their own changes, and their eyes are empty. It wasn't until a certain moment that the two of them suddenly came to their senses and fell to the ground together. Master, senior brother. The junior brother who looked handsome at the moment is no different from an old man whose neck is half buried in the earth. His eyes are sunken, and he is looking in horror at the person beside him who can still make out a faint outline. Senior brother, with a mouth full of teeth, said vaguely, "How did you become like this?" Junior brother, you. The senior brother also looked horrified, and looked at his junior brother with the same gaze. Only then did the junior realize that he touched his face, put his old hands in front of his eyes, stared blankly for a while, and then screamed loudly. "You, what did you do to us?" The senior brother raised his head with difficulty and looked into the sky, his cloudy eyes were full of horror and despair. He has never seen such a strange thing, and he has never even heard of it. With one move, he and his junior brother were beaten like this without any power to fight back. The strength of the young man in front of him is simply his only scene in my life. To be continued. This text is provided by the Breaking Dawn Update group at AC plus or minus a degree a diaresis T. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2434 Star Seal Fusion. Chapter 2434 Star Seal Fusion. Yang Kai sneered, stepped down from the void, and said sarcastically, "The two trash can die under the supernatural power of Emperor Suiyu, and you can die without regret." Suiyu, Great Emperor. The senior brother had obviously heard of the name of Suiyu Emperor. His eyes rolled in horror when he heard the words, his throat made a ho-ho sound, and he began to breathe quickly, but only the inhaled air did not come out, and soon he was exhausted. He tilted his head and died. Although the junior brother didn't die immediately, it was undoubtedly not much better. The whole person was dying, and his aura was extremely weak. At this time, unless he was given a very powerful treasure to restore vitality, such as the undead liquid from the Tree of Immortality, otherwise he would die. Absolutely no physiology. A deep sense of remorse flashed through his godless eyes. If he had known that Yang Kai was so powerful, how could the two of them, brothers and sisters, have provoked this evil star? Soon, the junior brother lost his breath, his eyes widened, and he looked like he was dying. Two swishing sounds came out, and two beams of brilliance suddenly shot out. Yang Kai could see clearly that these two beams of brilliance were exactly the five-pointed star seals on the backs of the dead two people's hands. He had seen such a scene before. In the land of 4 seasons, he had killed a person with a star seal. After that person died, the star seal he had also flew out like this. After the two five-pointed star seals flew out, they didn't leave too far away. Instead, they flew around Yang Kai a few times as if they were being pulled, and then rushed into the back of his hand. Yang Kai only felt a slight heat on the back of his hand, and when he looked again, the original five-pointed star seal on the back of his hand seemed to have changed and became more obvious. He was slightly surprised, not knowing why the star seals of the two dead people merged with his own. Just when he was in doubt, the five-pointed star seal on the back of his hand suddenly burst into dazzling light, and then, it exploded all of a sudden, turning into dots of starlight. Yang Kai was dumbfounded. Previously, the two senior brothers wanted to rob his star seal, and he thought that there would be great benefits in robbing someone else's star seal, but now this situation caught him off guard. After my own star seal merged with other people's star seal, it exploded. What can I do? Even though he has already entered the sea of broken stars, the meaning of the star seal certificate no longer exists, but it can sense the location of the original power. If there is no star seal, how can he find the original power in this vast sea of broken stars? If he knew this earlier, he would never let other people's star seals merge with his own, and Yang was so heartbroken that he bled. And the next moment, a sudden change occurred. The starlight that exploded was branded on the back of Yang Kai's hand again, and after a burning pain, another brand new star seal appeared in Yang Kai's eyes. Six-pointed star. Yang Kai couldn't help but let out a low cry. He couldn't believe his eyes. After the five-pointed star mark on the back of his hand exploded, the starlight regathered to give birth to a hexagram mark. The ups and downs of mood in this short period of time made Yang Kai stunned in place. He felt it silently for a moment, and found that after the appearance of the six-pointed star seal, the connection with the broken source of the broken star was strengthened, which was more obvious than the previous five-pointed star seal. Could it be that the higher the grade of the star seal, the easier it is to sense the power of the source? A bold guess suddenly burst out of Yang Kai's mind. Although this guess could not be confirmed by anyone, from my own experience, it is definitely true. Believable. Yang Kai recalled the 7 star seals he obtained in the Four Seasons land. Among those star seals, there were 3-pointed star seals, prismatic star seals, and 5-pointed star seals. At that time, in the land of Four Seasons, he had heard from Princess Lanzun of the Star God Palace that the higher the grade of the star seal, the easier it would be to get benefits in the Sea of Broken Stars. It seems that the senior officials of Qingyang Temple have also mentioned this. It's just that no one explained it to him carefully. Now that I think about it, the easier it is to get benefits, it is probably the induction with the power of the source. The higher the grade of the star seal, the easier it is to sense the source from farther away, pointing out the direction and location for the warrior. Now his star seal has been sublimated into a 6-pointed star seal, which is definitely more useful than a 5-pointed star seal. Lan Xuan also said that on top of the 6-pointed star seal, there are 7-pointed star seals, 8-pointed star seals, and even the most advanced 9-pointed star seal. But as far as Yang Kai knows, the star seals obtained by those martial artists in the land of Four Seasons, the most advanced ones are only 5-pointed star seals. He was still wondering how higher-level star marks would appear, but now it seems that those higher-level star marks were not obtained naturally but upgraded step by step. Kill the enemy, get the fusion of the star seal in yourself from others. Once a certain critical point is reached, the star seal will explode and reorganize and upgrade to the next level. His 6-pointed star seal is the best proof. The 2 people he killed just now were all 5-pointed star seals, and he himself also possessed 5-pointed star seals, and the 3 5-pointed star seals were fused together to upgrade into a 6-pointed star seal. In other words, if he can get 2 more 6-pointed star seals, he can be upgraded to a 7-pointed star. By analogy, sooner or later he will be able to get the most advanced 9-pointed star seal. Once he has the 9-pointed star seal, he can sense the source of the stars from a very far away, without having to search aimlessly. This experience suddenly made Yang Kai understand many mysteries about Star Fragment C and Star Seal. No wonder those 2 people wanted to snatch their own star seal, so there was this reason in it, Yang Kai suddenly realized. However, it is definitely not an easy task to upgrade one's star seal to a 9-pointed star seal. There are so many objects that need to be robbed. Much demanding. The 6-pointed star seal can also be used. Why bother to pursue the most advanced 9-pointed star seal? Standing in place pondering for a long time, Yang Kai put away his thoughts, bent down and picked up the space rings of the 2 people. It seems that because of his touch, the bodies of the 2 people suddenly collapsed, turned into powder and scattered on the ground. Yang Kai looked secretly startled. He just comprehended the supernatural power of the time flies some time ago, although he knew that the power of this supernatural power was definitely not small, but because he hadn't used it before, so he didn't know what to do. Today was just a small trial. Unexpectedly, with one move, 2 warriors of the same level were corrupted by the power of time without any power to fight back. It seems that the power of this supernatural power is still higher than he expected. It is worthy of the supernatural power of Emperor Sui Yu. It is not surprising to have such power, and with the improvement of Yang Kai's strength in the future and the deepening of his comprehension of this supernatural power, the power will continue to increase, and it will definitely become his trump card in the future, just like the space magic power. Divine Sense scanned the rings of these 2 people slightly. Yang Kai couldn't help but snorted, because he found that there were many things in the space rings of these 2 people that didn't belong to them at first sight, including some women's. These 2 guys have obviously done a lot of murder and robbery. Maybe during the year when the Sea of Broken Stars was opened, they have always joined hands to kill enemies like this, snatching other people's things and star seals. No wonder the 2 of them have 5-pointed star seals. It is estimated that their star seals have also been upgraded, and it is unknown how many people have been poisoned by them. Yang Kai threw the 2 rings into the mysterious boundary bead casually, and had his Dharma body organize the contents for him. He is the only one left here, although the source power on this broken star is relatively broken, but it is still the source, so Yang Kai naturally has no reason to let it go. After thinking about it, he waved his hand, and the next moment, Qingxi suddenly appeared in front of him. As soon as Sister Yu appeared, she looked around, her beautiful eyes flashed with surprise, and then she shouted excitedly, "Young Master Yang, isn't this the Sea of AA Broken Stars? Sister Wa is really knowledgeable, here is Broken Star Sea." Yang Kai smiled slightly, paying close attention to Qingxi's movements while speaking. Qingxi said in a trembling voice, "It's really the Sea of AA Broken Stars. This is the place that Daoyuan warriors yearn for the most. If you can get a chance here, you will definitely be promoted to Emperor Senior Realm." While speaking, she said strangely glancing at Yang Kai, he said, "Why are you staring at me so nervously? Yang Kai Dao, are you feeling well? Do you feel like you're going to be excluded?" Qingxi was stunned for a moment, but soon understood what Yang Kai meant, and smiled slightly, "Since you brought me in, no matter whether I have a star seal or not, I can continue to stay here. Are you afraid that I will be teleported out because I don't have a star seal?" Yang Kai nodded. Qingxi waved her hand and said, "No, don't worry about this. Many warriors who have experienced in the Sea of AA Broken Stars have been robbed of their star seals, and they can still stay here." Hearing what she said, Yang Kai suddenly patted his head, cursing himself for being too stupid. If he wanted to inquire about the information of Broken Xinghai, wouldn't it be enough to find Qingxi? After all, she is a disciple of Xingshan Palace, so she knows no less than others. She has not released Sister Wa during this period of time, and even forgot about her. But after confirming that even without star seal, he could stay in the Sea of AA Fragmented Stars, Yang Kai waved Luyan and Zhang Ruoxi out again. Zhang Ruoxi seldom leaves the mysterious boundary orb, except for breaking through the Great Realm. This time seeing Yang Kai calling herself out, she couldn't help but look at him curiously, not knowing what Yang Kai was going to do. This is the Sea of AA Broken Stars. It is a grand event that the elite warriors of the entire star world will participate in. It is also a great opportunity. Sister Wa, please tell us what we need to pay attention to here." Qingxi nodded, and after sorting out her thoughts, she told the information she knew. Most of the information she said, Yang Kai has already speculated, including the upgrade and specific use of Star Seal. However, what Qingxi said was more complete. According to her, the level of the Star Seal is higher. Not only can it sense the location of the original power from a longer distance, but it can even sense the location of other low-level star seals. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Mobile phone users, please go to read. Chapter 2435 The Prestige of Star Refining Art. In other words, the owner of a high-level star seal can detect the hiding place of a low-level star seal owner from a long distance. If the level of the star seal is not as good as others, no matter how mysterious the secret technique is, it will be found out. This feature of the star seal makes every opening of Broken Star Sea a bloodbath. In order to upgrade their own star seal, many warriors do not hesitate to kill their true colors. This characteristic of the star seal is more against the sky, and Yang Kai listened with a dignified face. He didn't particularly care about the level of his star seal before. In his mind, the star seal is enough, and there is no need to pursue too much. But now listening to what Qingxi said, Yang Kai understood that in order to ensure his own safety, the level of the star seal must be high enough, otherwise it is very likely that someone will find out where he is. This characteristic promotes killing and snatching among warriors in disguise. Let all warriors in Star Fragment Sea, whether they want or not, have to find ways to improve their star seal level. The purpose of the star seal is roughly these, but I have heard another legend. Qingxi said, her face suddenly became serious. Zhang Ruoxi asked nervously, "What?" Qingxi looked at Yang Kai and said, "It is said that if you can get the most advanced 9-pointed star seal, you can guide the place where the Heaven Devourer Great Emperor inherits." Really? Yang Kai looked shocked. Qingxi pursed her lips and said with a smile, "Since the existence of Broken Star Sea, this legend has been circulating. No one can confirm whether it is true or not, because no one has ever upgraded his star seal to the highest level, so naturally there is no way to prove it." This point. After a pause, she continued, But this point shouldn't appeal to you, young Master Yang. The Dharma body practiced the heaven-devouring battle technique, which was the inheritance of the heaven-devouring great emperor, so Yang Kai naturally didn't need to pursue this. It's not very attractive to me, but it's different to others. Yang Kai's face was slightly condensed. He suddenly discovered that in this sea of broken stars, the star seal is simply a two-person sword, and it is also the source of all evil blood. It has brought a lot of help to warriors here, but because of its various characteristics, it has also led to bloody killings among warriors. If there is no such thing as the star seal, the chances of conflict between the warriors here will be much smaller. Of course, not everyone wants to look for the inheritance of Emperor Tianchu. In this sea of broken stars, there are some good things left by other emperors. These are things that warriors of my generation yearn for. I heard in the sea of broken stars 5,000 years ago, a person found the immortal Qinglian of Emperor Qinglian and thus inherited the mantle of Emperor Qinglian. How is that person now? Lu Yan asked lightly. Hua Qingxi said. The Qinglian Palace, the top sect resounding in the eastern region, was founded by that person, and that person is also the palace master of Qinglian Palace. This person is lucky. Yang Kai raised his eyebrows slightly. Luck is chance, which one of us does not need to rely on chance? Hua Qingxi said quietly. Yang Kai deeply agrees that any martial artist can cultivate to the level of Dao Source Realm. It needs a great chance. If the chance is deep enough, then he can go one step further, to pry into the mystery of Emperor Senior Realm. If the chance is not enough, then he can only I have been wandering in Daoyuan for a lifetime. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. There are some broken original powers here, let's refine them together. Yang Kai said. Originally, the origin of the stars should be hidden somewhere inside the cultivation star, and it would take a lot of effort to find it, but now the cultivation star has long been broken, and the broken original power has also dissipated come out, so there is no need to search for it at all, it only needs to be refined and absorbed. When Hua Qingxi and the others heard the words, they nodded one after another, found a place to sit cross-legged, and practiced profound arts silently. The same is true for Yang Kai, although he doesn't like the original power here. But what the person said before is correct, the accumulation of small amounts of sand makes a tower, and quantitative changes will always lead to qualitative changes to a certain extent. The power of the source is a very special power, refining and absorbing it will not improve the strength of the warrior, but it can bring great benefits to any warrior. Especially for Hua Qingxi and others, they have never refined their origin before. If they can gain something in the sea of broken stars this time, it will definitely promote the promotion of Emperor Zun. Time passed slowly, and the four of them were scattered not far away, each meditating and interfering with each other. Half a day later, Yang Kai couldn't help but frown. He found that the efficiency of such refining and absorption was simply too low. The four of them worked hard together, and it took half a day, and the original power here has not been absorbed much. Going on like this, if you want to completely refine the origin of this place, it will be impossible to complete it in less than 10 days and half a month. It takes 4 people such a long time. If it is refined by one person, wouldn't it take a month or 2? This is too much work. He quietly observed Hua Qingxi and the others, and found that they were the same as himself. Only Zhang Ruoxi seems to be refining and absorbing faster. I don't know if it has something to do with her blood, but the speed is extremely limited. I don't know what the effect will be if the Dharma body is thrown out and it is refined with the heaven-devouring technique. The characteristic of the heaven-devouring warfare is that everything in the world can be devoured, and the original power here is definitely no exception. Thinking about it, Yang Kai's eyes suddenly brightened. The Dharma body has the heaven-devouring battle technique, and he also has another set of secret techniques, which are used to refine the origin of the stars. Star alchemy. This secret technique was obtained when he opened the Emperor Garden of Gloomy Star back then. Logically speaking, it can be regarded as Yang Yan's secret technique. Yang Kai was able to refine the star source of Gloomy Star and become a star master, all thanks to star refining decision. Later, he taught the star refining technique to his younger sister Shaning Shang, and Shaning Shang also successfully refined the star origin of Tongshuan continent. It can be seen from this that the star refining art is definitely a secret technique specially used to refine the origin of the stars. Isn't it just right for this place? Yang Kai's mood suddenly became agitated, no longer hesitating, and immediately displayed the star refining art. At the beginning, his surroundings were still useless, but as time went by, the broken original powers around him, like cats smelling fishy, rushed towards him one after another, refining and absorbing them for him. After a while, starlight appeared around his body, as if he was surrounded by a large number of fireflies. In those starlights, there is a strong source of power, which is the manifestation of the power of the source. Yang Kai's body also turned into a bottomless pit, and he never refused to come, opening his body and mind to accept the countless starlight. For a moment, the scene was a spectacle, extremely dazzling. Watching Si and the others were alarmed, opened their eyes and looked towards Yang Kai, their faces full of astonishment. Being teased by Yang Kai, even Zhang Ruoxi couldn't absorb the power of the source, all the source was attracted by Yang Kai, and everyone couldn't get any more benefits. I don't know how long it took, the starlight around Yang Kai gradually thinned out, and then disappeared. Realizing that there was no source of power here, Yang Kai slowly opened his eyes with a satisfied look on his face. The three pairs of beautiful eyes on the opposite side all looked at him sadly, as if Yang Kai had always abandoned them. Yang Kai wiped the sweat off his forehead, and said awkwardly, "I did an experiment, but I didn't expect the effect to be good." Although he has been refining the origin of the stars before, he has a little understanding of the things around him, and he also knows why Watching Si and others are looking at him with strange eyes. Watching Si said, "Young Master Yang, what kind of profound art is this? It only took half a day to absorb the source here. Star refining art." Yang Kai waved. "Come on, let me teach you, this secret technique is tailor-made for this place." The eyes of the three girls lit up when they heard the words, they hurriedly came to him, sat down cross-legged, and looked at him seriously. Yang Kai immediately began to teach it, without any privacy. The three girls listened extremely attentively, and their comprehension skills were very good. After 2 days, they had fully grasped this set of tactics. After they had fully mastered the star refining art, Yang Kai set off again, heading towards the cold and empty starry sky. With the star refining art, he felt that he could completely make up for the previous year. After all, the time it takes for others to refine the origin of the stars is not comparable to the time it takes for him, and his efficiency is much higher than others. 5 days later, Yang Kai found another cultivation star with a broken origin through the star seal. Flying down with Watching Si and others, within half a day, the original power of this place was absorbed. It was the first time for Watching Si and others to absorb the original source so efficiently, so they were still a little bit unsatisfied. In the next month, Yang Kai continued to search and explore in the starry sky, and found the origin of the stars several times. This month's wanderings made Yang Kai deeply appreciate the magical effect of star seal. Often in a very far position, Yang Kai can sense the existence of other people, presumably those people are all lower than his star seal level, so there is no way to hide his aura. He didn't bother those people, but focused on finding the source of power. After a month, all 4 of them gained a lot. On this day, after absorbing the source of a cultivation star, Watching Si suddenly walked in front of Yang Kai, looking hesitant to speak. Yang Kai looked at her strangely and said, "What's the matter, Sister Hua?" Watching Si said, "Young Master Yang, I want to act alone." Yang Kai was taken aback, frowned and said, "Is it because the 4 people share too little power?" Watching Si shook her head and said, "Why do I think so? It's just." She turned her head and glanced at the pitch-black void, with a strange light shining in her beautiful eyes. "I can feel that this sea of broken stars is a completely new one for me. Somewhere there is an opportunity waiting for me. I want to go and see." Yang Kai raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. Watching Si is now considered a strong person at the peak of the Daoyuan realm, and she is only 1 step away from being promoted to the Emperor Senior realm. With such a feeling at this critical point, it is very likely that there is a real opportunity waiting for her. A sudden flash of spiritual light in a warrior's heart is often more effective than retreating for more than 10 or 20 years. To be continued. This text is provided by the Breaking Dawn Update group at AC plus or minus a degree a diaresis T. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 2436 Separate. Thinking of this, Yang Kai was not going to stop him. Maybe let Watching Si act alone, she will have unexpected gains. Moreover, Watching Si's strength is not bad, and she has a 5-color spear Emperor treasure in her hand. This Emperor treasure is a treasure owned by a strong man like Yao Changjun. It has already been refined by her, and its power is infinite. Ordinary warriors should not be her opponents. What Watching Si lacks now is just a star seal. Without the star seal, she would not be able to sense the location of the source, so she could only search aimlessly. You bring this with you. Yang Kai stretched out his hand and handed her a space ring. Hua Qingxi took it, swept her divine sense inside, and immediately called out softly, "There are so many source crystals. There is nothing else in this ring, basically all source crystals, although there is no detailed number, but at least there are as many as 2 to 300 million, of which there are many high-grade source crystals. In addition to source crystals, there are some Yang Kai himself refined various panaceas. If you can really break through the shackles here and advance to the Emperor Senior stage, source crystals are indispensable. The heaven and earth spiritual energy in the broken star sea is very thin, so don't refuse." Yang Kai said solemnly. Hua Qingxi held the space ring, nodded slightly, and moved. "Young Master Yang, thank you, you are the best person in this world to me." Although at the beginning she was forced to follow Yang Kai, and she was even suspected of being switched by Yang Kai and mysterious Xiaoji, but in the past few years, Yang Kai has not done anything disadvantageous to her. Not only that, she also obtained from Yang Kai a great wonderful pill that others dreamed of but couldn't dream of, laying a solid foundation for the possibility of being promoted to Emperor Zun in the future, and even got a 5-color spear Emperor treasure from Yang Kai. Now that Yang Kai gave her another 2 to 3 billion source crystals, who in this world can treat her so well and give her so many good things, whether it is the Tai Miao pill or the 5-color spear, they are all capable. Even her master in the Star God Palace couldn't do this to the treasure that caused countless powerful people to snatch it. Hua Qingxi was really moved. If she can really be promoted to Emperor Senior in the future, the one she needs to thank most is Yang Kai. She mentioned chance before, thinking in her heart that meeting Yang Kai was not a great fortune in her life, a big chance. Sister Hua is being polite. Yang Kai smiled, and suddenly remembered something, said, "Don't move." While speaking, suddenly stretched out a hand and pointed at Hua Qingxi's forehead. Although Hua Qingxi didn't know what he was going to do, she didn't have the slightest precaution but stood there straight. After a while, Yang Kai pointed at her forehead, and the next moment, Hua Qingxi's delicate body trembled, and suddenly there was a feeling that the invisible shackles were lifted, and her whole body was extremely relaxed. She instantly understood what Yang Kai had done. He actually lifted the brand of soul that was branded in his sea of AA consciousness. Back then, she was placed in the mysterious small world by Yang Kai, and was forced to open her sea of AA consciousness and let Yang Kai brand her soul brand. Since then, she can no longer resist Yang Kai, and has to obey him. But now, Yang Kai took the initiative to remove the brand. In other words, she is now a free body, no longer bound by Yang Kai. "Young Master Yang." Hua Qingxi's beautiful eyes trembled slightly, and she looked at him incredulously. Yang Kai smiled and said, "Since we are going to break through Emperor Senior, naturally there can be no interference." Hua Qingxi pursed her red lips, then stretched out her hand suddenly, pointed to the sky and said, "Young Master Yang, don't worry, Sister Hua will not reveal any secrets about you in this life. If you violate this oath, Sister Hua will go mad and die." Quote. She knew too many secrets about Yang Kai, whether it was the mysterious boundary orb, the various hole cards Yang Kai possessed, or the immortal tree and Kang tree planted in the medicine garden. Once it is leaked, Yang Kai will definitely not be able to gain a foothold in the star boundary in the future, and will be besieged no matter where he goes. She took the initiative to make this heart demon oath, so that Yang Kai would not have to worry about her leaking the secret. Yang Kai smiled and said, "If you don't believe me, I won't remove the brand for you. Sister Hua, you go, be careful all the way." Hua Qingxi nodded and asked, "If the Sea of AA Broken Stars is closed, where should I find you?" "If you want to find me, go to Chenyizong. I will go to Chenyizong one day. Kai Yu, Io and others are all in Chenyi sect, so Yang Kai will go there again no matter what." "Okay, then I'll go there and wait for you." Hua Qingxi nodded, walked forward again, said a few words to Lu Yan and Zhang Ruoxi, then flung her petite body towards the starry sky, and soon disappeared trace. Looking at the direction she left, Yang Kai exhaled slightly. In the past few years, Hua Qingxi has helped him a lot. He didn't report any malice when he imprisoned Hua Qingxi, it was just because Hua Qingxi saw some of his secrets. He originally planned to let her be free when he was promoted to Emperor Senior Realm, but now it's just a little earlier. After getting along for such a long time, Yang Kai felt that Hua Qingxi's character was still trustworthy, so even if Hua Qingxi didn't make the vow of the heart demon, he would not worry about anything. "Sir," a weak cry came from the side, Yang Kai felt someone tug his sleeve, turned his head to look, and saw Zhang Ruoxi looking at him expectantly. He asked suspiciously, "What's wrong?" "Sir, Zhang Ruoxi hesitated, and didn't finish a single word for a long time. Yang Kai frowned. "You don't want to act alone, do you?" He saw Zhang Ruoxi's look eager to try, so he suddenly had this guess. What he didn't expect was that Zhang Ruoxi nodded. Yang Kai was shocked. "Are you sure?" Zhang Ruoxi bit her red lips lightly, took a deep breath, seemed to muster up her courage, and said, "Since leaving the Zhang family, Ruoxi has been cultivating under the protection of Mr. I once said that flowers that do not experience wind and rain will not grow up. If you don't want to drag your husband down all the time, I also want to become stronger, so I want to try." Yang Kai said with a serious face, "Do you know how dangerous this place is?" Zhang Ruoxi hesitated for a moment, then nodded slightly. Yang Kai said again, "Then do you know, who are the people who entered here? You are born with kindness, simple personality, and have never seen intrigues in the world. Are you sure you can survive here? Ruoxi will work hard." Yang Kai stared at her blankly, as if he had realized Zhang Ruoxi's other side for the first time. This seemingly weak girl seemed to be strong sometimes. "Master, let me go with her." Lu Yan suddenly interjected, "If Ruoxi and I are together, we will take care of each other, and I also have Xiaobai, so there shouldn't be any danger here." Yang Kai turned his head and glanced at Lu Yan. Seeing her nodding at him, he said, "Is there any problem with Lu Yan being with you?" Zhang Ruoxi said happily, "It's the best to be accompanied by Sister Lu Yan." Yang Kai looked sentimental and said, "Since the wings are hard, let's fly." When he brought Zhang Ruoxi by his side, this little girl was only at the first level of Void Return, but after these years, she has grown to the level of Daoyuan. If the people of the Zhang family knew about this, they might be very happy. The Zhang family has not been a strong person at Daoyuan level for many years, and the most powerful ancestor of the Zhang family is only at the second level of Void King, and this level of strength is basically nothing. If Zhang Ruoxi is allowed to act alone, Yang Kai is really worried. She was probably very strong at the time, that's why she wanted to be like watching C, but after all, she was only at the first level of Daoyuan. Even if she had some special blood power, she had no experience in fighting, and she was really in danger. I'm afraid it can't be resolved at all. But if Lu Yan is with her, there will be no problem. Not to mention that Lu Yan has a heaven-level puppet like Xiaobai in her hand, but Lu Yan's own strength is also top-notch in the Daoyuan realm, not to mention that she also has a Nirvana Thunder Bead in her hand, and although Zhang Ruoxi's strength is a little lower, but there is Feng Taixia's clothes beside her. As long as the two are more cautious, there should be no danger. Hearing what Yang Kai said, Zhang Ruoxi waved his hands in fear. "Sir, you misunderstood, Ruoxi didn't mean that." Lu Yan said, "Don't worry, the master just said it casually." Yang Kai handed Lu Yan a space ring, and said, "You take these things with you, they are the same as Sister Hua's. If the fragmented star sea is closed in the future and we can't be together, go to Chenny Sect and wait." Lu Yan took the space ring, nodded and said, "I remember. Go." Yang Kai waved his hand. Zhang Ruoxi pursed her red lips, and suddenly walked up to Yang Kai and knelt down, lying on the ground and said, "Mr. Great Kindness, Ruoxi will always remember it in my heart and never forget it. Sir, you must be safe and sound alone. Ruoxi, I will honor you well in the future. Get up, it's not life and death, we will see you again someday." Yang Kai bent down and helped her up. "Let's go," Lu Yan said, took Zhang Ruoxi's little hand, and Yuanli urged her to fly towards the starry sky. After a while, the two women disappeared. "It's all gone." Yang Kai stood there and murmured, feeling a little melancholy. Although he has been alone all these years, but because there is still some anger in mysterious Xiaoji, he didn't seem too lonely. Now that watching C, Lu Yan and Zhang Ruoxi are all gone, he feels a little uncomfortable. I feel something is missing. But he also knows that although it is safe for everyone to gather together, the gains are small. Now that the star alchemy art has been taught to them, if they spread their actions in this way, the harvest will definitely be greater and more. Perhaps, part of the reason for them leaving is that they don't want to drag themselves down and share their benefits. Just when Yang Kai was feeling lost, he suddenly noticed that FAU was calling him. He hastily broke through the barrier of the mysterious boundary bead and connected himself with FAU. "You don't want to act alone, do you?" Although it is said that the spiritual intelligence of the body is transformed by a ray of distraction. But with the continuous improvement of the strength of the body, and the fusion between the ray of distraction and the body, today's body can be regarded as another kind of special existence. It can't be regarded as Yonkai's avatar. It has its own thinking, it has its own ideas. Of course, if the two are willing, their minds can still communicate. Without communicating, they can know that the other party is there. Think about something. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for recommendations and monthly tickets. Your support is my biggest motivation.